Vol 2, Chapter 684, Hunting the Fangs. Quickly, even faster. Anakin Skywalker skillfully maneuvered the shuttle, weaving through the countless pieces of debris. Dozens of Vulture droid fighters were in hot pursuit, their red energy beams firing wildly, causing explosions and sending flames and debris scattering in all directions. However, Anakin, guided by the Force, dodged every attack with precision, navigating through the wreckage at high speed without slowing down. In this treacherous environment, several Vulture droid fighters chasing him crashed into the debris and were destroyed. The shuttle forcefully broke through several pieces of wreckage, blocking its path, revealing a rescue capsule where Master Plo Koon and several clone soldiers were taking cover under the hatch. Anakin brought the shuttle to a halt beside the capsule with a skillful flick of its tail and opened the door. Master Plo Koon used the Force to pull himself inside the shuttle, then extended his power to bring the clone soldiers aboard as well. At that moment, the Vulture droid fighters caught up, unleashing a barrage of blaster fire. The shuttle's shields absorbed a few hits before Anakin, without waiting for the hatch to close fully, pushed forward, breaking through more debris. He returned fire, taking down 2 Vulture droid fighters, and steered the shuttle towards the edge of the debris field. Meanwhile, the battleship Fang finally detected the presence of the Nubian shuttle. General Grievous bellowed, "Activate the energy pulse! Shoot down that spaceship!" "Roger, Roger," a B-1 battle droid responded, pressing the activation button. The battleship Fang's energy recycling system, having been charged for an extended period, was ready to fire. "Fire!" General Grievous commanded. The battleship's directional pulse cannon began to charge, gathering a dense electrical current filled with destructive energy. This devastating pulse was then released, affecting even the Vulture droid fighters launching from the battleship, causing them to lose control and drift in space. "Be careful, this battleship's secret weapon is an EMP," Plo Koon warned. "Spread out at sublight speed, it's our only chance. Hurry!" Anakin shouted, steering the shuttle towards the venomous Fang. "Anakin, that's a Separatist battleship," Padme Amidala exclaimed in alarm. Before she could finish, Anakin made another sharp turn. Almost simultaneously, a surge of electric light appeared on the wreckage behind them, but their shuttle narrowly escaped the deadly attack. Master Plo Koon nodded in approval. "You are truly exceptional, Anakin. To fly in reverse against the EMP's spread and then escape its range at the right moment is something not even I could have done." "Fools! Why didn't it hit? Idiots!" General Grievous roared in frustration. "The spaceship managed to anticipate the range of the directed energy pulse and avoided it," explained a T-Series tactical droid. "Silence!" General Grievous, in a fit of rage, sent the tactical droid flying with a slap. A B-1 battle droid, acting as a battlefield recorder, noted in its terminal, at 1321 GMT, one T-Series tactical droid was lost, recorded as routine attrition. "All turrets, open fire! Shoot them down!" General Grievous commanded furiously. The battleship Fang's turrets swiveled into position, unleashing a torrent of blaster fire. Anakin's shuttle danced through the onslaught like a small boat in a tempest, miraculously avoiding every shot. After breaking free from the debris belt, Rock Johnson activated the hyperspace engine. With a burst of white light, the shuttle entered the hyperspace channel and vanished. General Grievous watched the direction in which the shuttle disappeared, remaining silent for a long while. Here is the main information regarding the super battleship, Procong relayed to Master Windu and Master Yoda through hyperspace communication. The critical point is that the battleship's hyperspace engine is not of a high level. Therefore, our instruments have recorded its hyperdrive data, and we have determined the range of its next jump. Protecting our supply line and destroying this super battleship is essential to prevent our defeat, Master Yoda stated. We will immediately devise a strategy to encircle and suppress this battleship. You should convene at the nearest fleet station as soon as possible and await further instructions, Master Windu added. "There's a flaw in our operations, my master. A shuttle escaped from the Fang's pursuit, and now the Galactic Republic is aware of this battleship," General Firth reported during a hyperspace communication. "This is a significant oversight, Grievous. You have greatly disappointed me. Since the war began, Your actions have only demonstrated your incompetence as a commander, Count Dooku said, his expression dark and voice cold. I will continue my combat mission. The Fang will not be captured, General Grievous asserted. Count Dooku, holding a data chip, transmitted the information and said, Our intelligence personnel have just sent this data. Near the planet Naboo, there is a medical space station housing over 60,000 wounded clone soldiers. Destroying this space station is your last opportunity to prove your worth. This mission will be executed flawlessly, General Grievous responded, bowing his head. Count Dooku ended the communication, his expression still grim. After a moment of contemplation, he initiated another call. The holographic projection displayed a figure not particularly tall, but well-proportioned and upright, exuding a heroic aura. Governor Tang Xiao, Count Dooku greeted with a polite bow. Tang Xiao, who had been in his early 20s when he arrived in this universe and was now at least 33, appeared remarkably youthful, with hardly any signs of aging on his face. He still looked to be in his 20s, save for a small beard adorning his chin and the corners of his mouth, giving him a sunny and handsome appearance, almost rivaling that of the Mirror Master. What can I do for you, Count Dooku? Tang Xiao replied, returning the salute with a smile. Chapter 685, The Hunt for the Fang, Part 4. Count Dooku wore a smile that hinted at both concern and strategy. The recent maneuvers of the battleship Fang have been less than discreet, likely alerting the Republic to its presence, he observed. This is indeed troubling, Count Dooku. The Fang's mission was to remain a shadowy threat, a mystery to keep the Republic on edge, Tang Xiao responded, his tone reflecting the gravity of the situation. General Grievous's handling of the Fang has been less than stellar. Its current position deep within Republic territory makes it vulnerable to encirclement and suppression, and we are unable to provide timely reinforcements. The Fang's most significant weakness is its hyperdrive's inferior capability, Count Dooku elaborated. Tang Xiao nodded in agreement. He recognized a similar issue with the Titan battleship Plague. Both the Fang and the Plague sacrificed various capabilities for the sake of powering their superweapons, a risky but potentially rewarding strategy. Count Dooku then shifted the conversation. During the recent raid on Sarabine, General Severance Tan's capabilities left a lasting impression on me. I believe she is the ideal candidate to command a super battleship like the Fang. I intend to assign her as its commander. What are your thoughts? After a moment of contemplation, Tang Xiao replied with a slight smile. It would be an honor for both General Tan and myself. I fully support this decision. The Fang is currently on a mission near Naboo. Once completed, I will have the warship returned to Port Palmet for repairs. General Severance Tan can assume command there, Count Dooku stated. Tang Xiao nodded, then offered a suggestion. Given the recent incompetence displayed by the governor of Suramar, which allowed my fleet to triumph over the Republic's 19th Army, and your successful leadership that inflicted heavy losses on the Republic's mobile fleet at Farron, now is the opportune moment to instill fear in the Republic. Count Dooku's interest was piqued. Indeed, the Republic's defensive contraction is a clear sign of their fear. Why not then publicize the existence of the venomous Fang? Tang Xiao proposed, a cunning smile playing on his lips. For both the Republic and our Confederacy of Independent Systems, the revelation of the venomous Fang would be monumental. It would rally our people and instill deep fear in the Republic. Count Dooku considered the proposal seriously. You realize this would strip the Fang of its secrecy. The venomous Fang no longer needs to hide in the shadows, Tang Xiao replied with indifference. Count Dooku acknowledged the merit in Tang Xiao's suggestion. And what of the formidable Plague? Has Lord Dead Angel responded? He has agreed to integrate the Plague Titan battleship into the Confederation's battle fleet, though no further details were provided. My proposal includes both the Plague and the Fang. Their existence as super battleships will break the Republic's will to resist, allowing us to achieve victory without conflict, Tang Xiao explained. Very well, Count Dooku finally agreed, nodding. I will prepare General Severance Tan to take command of the Fang. Tang Xiao saluted Count Dooku and ended the communication. He agreed? A shadowy figure emerged from behind Tang Xiao. Turning to face Helmut Zemo, who lingered in the shadows, Tang Xiao replied coldly. Given his lack of foresight regarding the Venom's outcome, he harbored no doubts about the proposal. My primary concern is safeguarding the plague. The Fang is secondary. 8,000 meters, exclaimed a scientist aboard a Republic battleship, signaling the next phase of their operation. Slamming his hand on the table, a scientist declared, based on the data we have on this separatist super battleship, to decisively defeat it, we require a battleship of at least 8,000 meters in length. Only then will we possess the necessary energy intensity to withstand the EMP attack. Another scientist, with gray hair, rapidly typed on his terminal, putting a series of calculations. He then projected the results onto the table's light screen, stating, to design an energy core capable of directly neutralizing this super EMP attack, we would need a hull of at least 12,000 meters. To be on the safe side, let's estimate 17,000 meters, interjected a third scientist. We must place an order with Quat Power Dock immediately. We need such a super battleship within no more than 8 months to stand a chance against the separatist fleet. The white-haired scientist turned to address the holographic projection of Speaker Palpatine behind him. With all due respect, esteemed scholars, Palpatine began, his voice calm and his smile reassuring. The supply line through the Hydia hyperspace channel has been crippled by this super warship. If we wait 8 months, I fear the entire Hydia route will be under separatist control. But without a super battleship, our conventional fleet stands no chance against it. Our simulations have shown that assembling a large fleet of over 50 chasseurs to attack from multiple directions simultaneously is the only way to possibly achieve victory, the scientist replied, shaking his head in dismay. Perhaps it's time to enlist the aid of the Jedi Knights, suggested Palpatine, hinting at a broader perspective. Gentlemen, there may be more than one separatist super battleship out there, and we have many factors to consider. This is the conclusion of our scientific and technical team's analysis on the super warship. In short, unless a miracle occurs, we see no way to counter this warship's attacks, Palpatine communicated to Masters Windu and Yoda. We cannot allow this super battleship to continue its destruction. We must find a solution. Thank you for your support, Speaker. We will devise a plan as soon as possible, Master Windu responded. The Jedi Knights might just be the miracle we need. The future of the Republic is in your hands, Palpatine solemnly saluted, bowing deeply before ending the communication. There is wisdom in the Speaker's words, Master Yoda observed. The Force itself is a miracle. Master Windu nodded, deep in thought. Master just informed us of the super battleship's location. Discussed 2 striking figures in red and blue dresses as they walked through the corridors of the Jedi Temple. The Jedi Knights and apprentices they passed seemed to give them a wide berth. They were the Force twins, Luna Dream and Luna Fantasy. Poison Fang. The Governor always has far-reaching insight, Luna Meng remarked softly. Remember, sister, that name is not known to the Republic, Luna Han cautioned. Suddenly, they sensed something and turned towards a room ahead, from which faint arguing could be heard. Exchanging glances, they approached. This is the consequence of your grave error. Master Wen, we should have initiated an orbital bombardment of the Geonosian planet from the start, they heard their master, Depa Balaba, argue. Despite a force barrier, the twins' keen senses allowed them to catch snippets of the argument. You must consider the civilians and our fellow Jedi Knights on the planet, Master Windu countered. In war, the regret is not in the action, but in the inaction that leads to more deaths of civilians and Jedi, Depa Balaba argued. I am a Jedi, and I stand by our principles, Master Windu declared. Jedi cannot win wars, generals do, Depa Balaba stated firmly. This is a dangerous line of thought, Master Balaba. Master Windu frowned, then suddenly turned towards the door. Come in, twins, he called to Luna Meng and Luna Han. Luna Han exchanged a glance with her companion before they both stepped through the door. With a respectful demeanor, they offered a deep bow to the 2 Jedi Masters present in the room. Master Windu, Master Balaba, please forgive our intrusion, Luna Han said, her voice carrying a tone of earnest apology. Master Depa Balaba, known for her kindness, quickly reassured them with a gentle smile. It's quite all right. You're not at fault, she said, her fondness for Tui he dream sisters evident in her voice. "What brings you here today?" Lunahan straightened up, her resolve clear in her eyes. "We wish to join the mission to destroy the separatist super battleship," she stated, her voice firm yet respectful. The room fell silent for a moment as Masters Windu and Balaba exchanged thoughtful looks. The request was not a light one, and the gravity of the situation weighed heavily in the air. Vol 2, Chapter 686, Hunting the Fangs 5. The Conqueror-class battleship, stretching an impressive 4,825 meters in length, stands as the pinnacle of the new generation of battleships, a stark contrast to the Galactic Republic's older Command-class and Prosecutor-class vessels. The Venom, the first of its kind in the Conqueror class, has already demonstrated its formidable capability by single-handedly decimating an entire Republic battle formation. This is the power of freedom. This is the power of the people. This is the power of the Confederation of Independent Systems. It symbolizes our resolve to resist the tyranny of the Republic. Every penny we invest in the war today will forge the weight of our future freedom. The host passionately proclaimed on the holographic projection screen, showcasing the Conqueror-class battleship's superior firepower as it obliterated the defenseless Chaser-class battlecruisers in a combat video. The raw, unedited footage, displaying the Republic crew's bodies floating lifelessly in space, stirred a primal excitement among the viewers. Emotionally charged civilians flooded the streets in demonstrations, waving banners in support of the Confederate authorities. They carried holographic projections and large portraits of Count Dooku and other influential business magnates, voicing their slogans loudly. In response, capitalists generously poured their wealth into war bonds established by the Confederation of Independent Systems, a testament to their stake in the conflict. These bonds promised dividends in the event of victory, though they came with the risk of total loss should the war tilt in favor of the Republic. Count Dooku's popularity soared to unprecedented heights, with his approval rating in polls surpassing 90%. He topped a television survey as the most desirable bachelor in the Confederacy. Interestingly, the most sought-after bachelorette was Severance Tan, celebrated for her daring raid on the planet Salaban, striking a critical blow to the Republic's core territories. She narrowly surpassed Alia Isabel, a galactic superstar, in this regard. The war fervor among the Confederation's populace was palpable. Models of the Fang battleship sold out immediately upon release, and one affluent individual even commissioned a 100-meter-long replica for his expansive villa. The Confederate holographic networks buzzed with speculation about the Fang's next target, with the Galactic Republic's capital, Coruscant, topping the list of potential objectives. Sensing an opportunity, the Trade Federation and various business guilds launched a civilian spacecraft modeled after the Fang battleship, quickly setting up production lines to meet the overwhelming demand. Meanwhile, under General Grievous's command, the Fang battleship neared the Rendelia system, close to the Naboo system, targeting a crucial medical base of the Galactic Republic. This facility, primarily serving wounded clones from various battlefronts, housed over 60,000 injured soldiers. A team of Kaminoan medics was stationed there, dedicated to the clones' recovery. In a nearby galaxy, the Fangs intercepted another Republic supply fleet. With a targeted pulse from their focused cannon, they rendered all the Republic ships powerless. "Ha! Fire! Reduce these Republic ships to rubble!" General Grievous ordered, his laughter echoing menacingly as he relished the destruction of his adversaries. "Understand this, Grievous. You and the battleship Fang have become prominent figures within the Confederation of Independent Systems, and countless eyes are upon you, eagerly awaiting your triumph," Count Dooku's holographic projection stated calmly from the rear seat. "Or a complete failure. Destroying the medical space station is a crucial step. It's time to give those poor wounded soldiers a taste of mercy," General Grievous declared with malice. "Once the objective is achieved, you are to return to Port Palmont for maintenance on the Fang. During this period, you will also oversee operations on other fronts. Count Dooku, you instructed." "As you wish, Master," General Grievous replied. The Fang unleashed a barrage of artillery fire, decimating the Republic's battleships and transport ships. General Grievous, observing the chaos outside the porthole, let out a sinister laugh. A B-1 battle droid in the artillery control group remarked, "It's exhilarating. They don't stand a chance against our onslaught." Another B-1 droid, after pressing the fire button, confessed, "Yet, I still seem to miss the target." In high spirits, General Grievous, frustrated by the incompetence, slapped the droid responsible for the missed shots. Another droid quickly took its place. "Be mindful of your actions, Grievous. Every droid is a valuable asset to the Confederacy," Count Dooku's holographic projection chided. The incident was duly noted by a B-1 droid tasked with record-keeping. The loss of one B-1 droid is recorded as a daily loss. Meanwhile, Anakin Skywalker and Master Plo Koon awaited the arrival of reinforcements, 3 Chaser-class battlecruisers. Anakin and his companions landed in the hangar of a Chaser-class cruiser aboard a shuttle. As the hatch opened, they were greeted by Admiral Ahsoka Tano and Admiral Wolf Yularen. "The Jedi Council has endorsed your battle plan, Skywalker," Ahsoka Tano announced. "The Republic must maintain its main fleet on the front lines, so this is the extent of the reinforcements we can provide," Admiral Yularen explained. Ahsoka Tano sighed. "Furthermore, the Council has assigned the individuals they believe are most suited for this mission." His gaze shifted behind him, revealing a mix of deep concern and apprehension. Behind Ahsoka stood 2 blonde girls, appearing not much older than Ahsoka herself. One was dressed in a red outfit with her hair tied in a ponytail to the left, while the other wore blue, her hair styled to the right. Their ponytails were neat, and their skin was delicate and fair, giving them an almost doll-like appearance. Yet the sight of these seemingly innocent beauties caused Anakin Skywalker to step back in alarm. "You! Why are you here? The Dream Sisters?" The twins paid no attention to Anakin, instead bowing respectfully to Master Plo Koon. "Greetings, Master Plo." Their voices were sweet, and their demeanor was polite, but this only intensified the unease felt by Anakin and Ahsoka. Even within the Jedi Order, the Dream Sisters were known for being formidable, though this reputation was mostly among Jedi Knights of their age or younger. In contrast, the Order's elders held them in high regard. Master Plo Koon approached, affectionately touching the twins' hair, and said warmly, "Ah, so the Dream Sisters have arrived. Master Yoda's decision to send you indicates the Jedi Order's serious commitment to dealing with this super battleship." Vol 2, Chapter 687, Hunt for Fangs, 6. "It's not a task assigned by the committee, Master Plo Koon," Luna Huan said obediently. "We volunteered because we want to contribute more to the Jedi Order and the Republic." Luna Han added, "Indeed, our abilities could be crucial in taking down this super battleship." Plo Koon nodded in approval. "It's commendable that you have such determination. Your skills will indeed be invaluable in destroying this formidable enemy." Turning to Anakin, Luna Han smiled and said, "So, Skywalker, what's your plan?" Anakin sighed. "I'm hardly little in terms of rank or age, but as for the plan, this super battleship, despite its size, lacks agility. A large warship might not stand a chance against it, but a squadron of nimble bombers could outmaneuver and destroy it." He projected a hologram of the USS Fang, highlighting the massive bridge at its rear. "We've confirmed that General Grievous is aboard this battleship. Destroying the bridge will neutralize the threat to the Hydia Channel and could also lead to Grievous's demise, potentially ending the war sooner. We should be able to make a significant impact in this battle, right, Skywalker?" Luna Han's smile seemed to unsettle Anakin, who merely nodded in response. At that moment, Wolf Yularen received a distress signal. Another transport fleet has been attacked by the super battleship. "Where?" Anakin inquired. "Near the Khalida Nebula passageway," Wolf Yularen replied. Anakin quickly accessed the holographic star map, pinpointing the location. "Our intel is accurate. Given the battleship's hyperdrive capabilities, its next jump options are limited." The computer displayed over 10 potential targets. "But with only 3 warships and about 1,000 fighters, we can't afford to spread our forces thin," Wolf Yularen pointed out. Anakin focused on one location on the map. "Here, the Lendrian system. We have a medical base there." "But that base is classified. How could the Separatists know about it?" Wolf Yularen asked, concerned. "Intuition," Anakin replied, "but we can't take chances. If we lose track of the battleship here, it'll be harder to intercept it when it returns to the Hydia Channel. I know a shortcut through the Balmora run. cutting directly through the Kalida Nebula. "This route will get us to the Lendrian system before the battleship," Anakin proposed. "I'll lead a bomber squadron ahead to confirm its location. Then, you can follow and destroy it in one fell swoop." "That sounds risky. Are you sure a bomber formation will suffice?" Wolf Yularen asked, skeptical. "I'm certain. The battleship doesn't have a large fighter complement," Anakin assured him. "Then, let's proceed," Lunahan declared, heading to her modified ARC-170 heavy fighter jet with her sister. "Did the Venom actually head to the Lendria galaxy?" Tang Xiao mused, stroking his chin. "Yes, exactly as you predicted. So will it manage to destroy the Fang?" Helmut Zemo inquired. "With Anakin's capabilities and his powerful allies, the destruction of the Fang is inevitable," Tang Xiao remarked with a smirk. "The higher they rise, the harder they fall. Just watch how Count Dooku's support plummets after the Fang's destruction." "Of course, this won't undermine Count Dooku's political influence entirely, but for the Plague, it's a significant shield," Zemo added, smiling. "The Plague must indeed fulfill its role." Meanwhile, on the planet Lendria, "Formation members, follow me." Anakin Skywalker led the charge, his determination unwavering as they prepared to confront one of the greatest threats to the Republic. Anakin Skywalker piloted his Delta-7 fighter jet at unprecedented speeds through space, pushing the acceleration beyond 3,000 G, a feat beyond the comprehension of ordinary individuals. Even clone pilots, with their enhanced reflexes, could not keep pace and had to rely on automatic navigation to follow Anakin's lead. Accompanying Anakin's Delta-7 and the Dream Sisters' ARC-170 fighter jets were 15 Y-wing bombers, forming a formidable squadron. Their target was the battleship Fang Fang, armed with a staggering 500 turrets. As the battleship unleashed its formidable firepower, Anakin navigated through the onslaught with unmatched agility, while the Dream Sisters deployed a bewildering tactic. Suddenly, hundreds of fighter jets, including Delta-7s, ARC-170s, and Y-wing bombers, appeared, creating an illusion so convincing that even the battleship's fire control radar was deceived. On the bridge of the Fang Fang, General Grievous was thrown into disarray. He had faced Jedi before, but never had he encountered adversaries as formidable and enigmatic as Anakin Skywalker and the Dream Sisters. No Jedi had ever withstood the intense firepower of the Fang Fang, nor had they conjured illusions capable of fooling advanced technology. "The supership's EMP is charging," announced a clone pilot. "I know, this is what I've been waiting for," Anakin responded, his gaze fixed on the battleship. "This battleship is brimming with powerful energy, but its greatest strength is also its most significant weakness." Despite the vast size of the 4,825-meter-long battleship, the smaller fighters had a chance. The Fang Fang's turrets couldn't cover every angle, offering a sliver of hope for survival. Only Anakin, with his precognitive abilities granted by the Force, could navigate this perilous approach. "Launch!" bellowed General Grievous. "Launch!" Anakin commanded simultaneously. The 15 Y-wing bombers released their proton torpedoes at the exact moment the battleship's directional-shaped pulse cannon was about to fire. The torpedoes struck their target just as the B-1 droid operating the weapon initiated the launch sequence. In an instant, the electrical current meant to power the cannon dissipated, and the battleship erupted into flames, with thousands of fire points igniting across its structure. The Fang Fang was severely damaged by the coordinated strike of the proton torpedoes. The firing of the directional-shaped pulse cannon required lowering the battleship's shields, exposing a critical vulnerability. The design, while innovative and imaginative, compromised the reliability and rigor essential for a warship. The Galactic Republic's scientific research team, inspired by the Fang Fang, aspired to construct an even larger super battleship, measuring 17,000 meters, to counter it. The Fang Fang represented an extreme approach to warship design, leveraging the backflow phenomenon of the hyperdrive discovered by Ruger Simon to harvest energy. However, this reliance on the directional energy-focusing pulse made the Fang Fang nearly invulnerable under normal circumstances. Yet, it also introduced a fatal flaw. The energy pipes that crisscrossed the battleship's body became its Achilles heel, vulnerable to precise and coordinated attacks like the one led by Anakin Skywalker. The energy channels that once coursed through the body, empowering it, have now become its greatest weakness. Every vein that pulsed with power now serves as a potential point of vulnerability. Vol 2, Chapter 688, Hunt for Fangs, 7. The Fang battleship was on the brink of launching its directed energy-focusing pulse when it was suddenly bombarded. The energy, which had been condensed in the massive launcher, was instantly redirected back through the energy channel, causing explosions and fires throughout the ship. To the naked eye, it was evident that the battleship was engulfed in flames, with the fire being propelled like jets due to the difference in air pressure inside and outside the ship. At the moment of the explosion, the robots aboard the Fang suffered significant losses. The damage control unit was particularly hard hit, with more than half of its members destroyed in an instant. Out of the 25,350 robots that manned the ship, over 6,000 were lost in the explosion, leaving the remaining robots unable to maintain the battleship's normal navigation. Go! Extinguish the fires. Initiate the hyperspace jump now. We need to get out of here. General Grievous bellowed from the bridge, his fury palpable. We need to recalculate the hyperspace parameters, sir. This may require some time, one of the B-1 robots began. Idiot! General Grievous, in a fit of rage, decapitated the robot with a slap. A replacement robot quickly took its place and resumed the calculations. Deploy the Marines to extinguish the fires across the battleship. Control the damage as soon as possible, General Grievous ordered coldly. Launch all operational fighters. I want those Jedi Knights bombers destroyed. Roger, Roger, came the immediate response. I've severely damaged the super battleship. It can no longer use that super EMP. Anakin announced triumphantly over the communication channel. With the Fang battleship severely damaged and its electronic interference capabilities disrupted, Anakin was finally able to send a message to the outside world. Understood. Reinforcements are on their way, Wolf Yularen responded, nodding. Anakin ended the communication and continued to lead the bomber formation in their assault on the Fang. However, despite the firepower of the more than 10 Y-wing bombers, penetrating the battleship's armor was nearly impossible without a direct hit on the energy node, as they had managed before. Even with the Fang's shields now disabled, its armor proved too formidable. The Fang's turrets were being rapidly repaired, increasing the battleship's firepower. Despite the bombers being covered by numerous illusions, they were still being shot down one by one. Then, suddenly, 3 Chaser-class battlecruisers emerged from hyperspace, their arrival marked by a flash of white light. Without hesitation, they opened fire on the Fang. The Fang was surrounded by the illusion of hundreds of fighter jets, confusing the robots manning the turrets. Despite their relentless firing, they couldn't hit their targets, but they were programmed to keep shooting regardless. Boom! The Fang was hit repeatedly, with the turbo laser guns targeting the bridge. Even though the bridge had raised its protective armor, the continuous hits caused the operators inside to stagger. General Grievous, using his 4 arms, grabbed onto the seat and ceiling to stabilize himself and shouted, "Turn now! Direct all gunfire at the enemy battlecruisers. Complete the hyperspace calculations as soon as possible and leave." He then turned to the communication robot. "Connect me to Count Dooku. I need his help." The Venom battleship has been attacked by the Jedi Knights, and the pulse cannon is destroyed. The battleship is severely damaged, and I require reinforcements. General Grievous urgently reported through the distorted holographic projection. Count Dooku's expression darkened as he listened to the plea for help. The holographic projection of the communicator on the other side flickered to life, revealing a figure kneeling on one knee. "My lord, the Fang is currently under severe attack by the Jedi Knights. Without immediate action, we risk losing this battleship," the figure reported with urgency. Darth S. Idius, his voice laced with frustration, responded through clenched teeth. "The Jedi Order has dispatched Anakin Skywalker and the Dream Sisters, who are among the elite of the new generation of Jedi, but the Fang is mine. I will not tolerate its destruction. Do whatever it takes to protect it." Our closest fleet is stationed on the planet Christopher Sis, consisting of the new Behemoth-class battleships of the Interstellar Banking Association. However, this fleet would need to break through the Republic's defenses in the Jar system to reach the Kalita system. I fear they won't arrive in time, Count Dooku explained, his head bowed in concern. After a moment of contemplation, Darth Sidious's expression turned cold, and a sinister smile spread across his face. Let the Fang cease its engagement and retreat immediately. And, why not enlist the aid of the Angel of Death? G. Count Dooku lifted his head, a look of admiration in his eyes. A brilliant strategy, my lord. Your wisdom knows no bounds. Do it at once. I will arrange for additional support to ensure the Fang's safety, Darth Sidious commanded. As you wish, Count Dooku replied before ending the communication. He then reached out to Tang Xiao, his expression grave. When Tang Xiao's holographic projection appeared, Dooku said, Your Excellency, Governor, I must inform you of a dire and unfortunate situation. Tang Xiao, already sensing the gravity of the news, responded earnestly, Please proceed, Count Dooku. How may I assist you? The Fang has fallen into a Jedi trap and is currently engaged in a fierce battle in the Kalita Galaxy. Its prospects look grim, Dooku revealed. The Kalita Galaxy? Tang Xiao feigned surprise, glancing at a holographic star map. That's near the planet Naboo, deep within Republic territory. Sending reinforcements there will be challenging. Dooku continued. Hence, I request your help in convincing Lord Mortal Angel to intervene and save the Fang. Without hesitation, Tang Xiao nodded. Given the urgency, I will contact Lord Dead Angel immediately. Your assistance is greatly appreciated, Dooku said, placing one hand over his chest in a gesture of gratitude before closing the communication. Tang Xiao, deep in thought, then issued an order. Prepare a T-850 as my stand-in. I may need to leave for a few days. Helmut Zemo, standing nearby, voiced his concern. Without our intervention, the Fang is doomed. What are you planning? Tang Xiao didn't reply, but initiated another communication. The figure of Adelacatus appeared. Master, what are your orders? Where is the plague currently? Tang Xiao inquired. On planet Socorro, my lord, Adelacatus responded. Wait for me there. I'll be arriving shortly. First, calculate the hyperspace navigation coordinates for the Shada-Be-Boran planet. That's our next destination, Tang Xiao instructed before turning to leave. Vol 2, Chapter 689, A Spectacular Beginning, Part 1. In the vast expanse of Shada-Be-Boran's outer space, a fierce white light suddenly flashed, heralding the arrival of an immense battleship. Stretching 14,100 meters in length, it would take a car traveling at 60 kilometers per hour a full 15 minutes to traverse its length from one end to the other. The battleship's iron-gray exterior exuded an industrial aesthetic, coupled with an imposing sense of oppression. Its structure, a massive diamond shape composed of 4 parts, featured a central hole 400 meters in diameter. At first glance, one might mistake this for a colossal spaceport capable of accommodating Chaser-class battlecruisers, with even Apocalypse-class and Aquitens-class light cruisers able to navigate it with ease. However, those familiar with the battleship knew better. This was not a spaceport but a barrel, 400 meters in diameter and over 10,000 meters long. The devastation wrought by its projectiles was beyond words. A direct hit on an unprotected planet could potentially knock it out of its plate tectonics, leaving it in ruins after violent seismic upheavals. This titan of a ship was named the HMS Plague, a Ragnarov-class battleship. Having emerged from hyperspace, the Plague now loomed silently in space, a stationary colossus. Had the planet Shada-Be-Boran been inhabited, the mere presence of this battleship might have compelled its residents to surrender immediately. However, the planet lay desolate, surrounded by a lethal stream of gamma rays. Just 2 decades prior, Shada-Be-Boran was a thriving world until a supernova explosion obliterated all life. The Galactic Republic Council had mobilized extensive resources to evacuate the indigenous population before the gamma-ray burst from the supernova hit, but the catastrophe still resulted in at least 500 million casualties. The residual energy from the supernova explosion meant the planet would be uninhabitable for the next 300,000 years. Yet, it was this hellish environment that masked the hyperspace fluctuations caused by the Plague's jumps, allowing it to operate undetected by the Republic monitoring station, even within Republic-controlled territories. Soon after, Another burst of white light signaled the arrival of a small spaceship about 26 meters long. Its bright red exterior made it strikingly conspicuous against the backdrop of space. Emerging from hyperspace, it made a beeline for the plague, landing smoothly on the battleship's compact hangar platform at the rear. This was the Sith infiltrator, Red Comet. Darth Lilim, adorned with a string of gems that cascaded down from her tentacles, was already waiting on the hangar platform. Upon seeing the approaching spaceship, she knelt on one knee in a gesture of respect, awaiting her lord's arrival. The hatch of the Red Comet opened, and Darth Marthael, cloaked in black, stepped out. "Lord Marthael, welcome. Following your instructions, the plague has stealthily moved to the star field near Naboo and has now arrived at Shadabai Boran," Darth Lilim reported, bowing deeply. "Let's proceed. The Fang has already attracted the attention of the Republic's task force. We must act swiftly, ensuring our timing is neither too late nor too early," Darth Marthael responded coldly, making his way towards the battleship's internal suspended traffic track. Darth Lilim waited for a moment before rising and following her lord, ready to embark on their next mission. Darth Marthael stood at the heart of the bridge command center, his presence commanding attention. "Calculate the hyperspace channel data and prepare for the jump. Our target," he announced, pointing to a location on the hologram, "is Trigalis." "Understood." The battleship's navigator promptly input the coordinates into the navigation computer, initiating the calculation process. The Titan battleship Plague, despite its massive size, was manned by a mere 3,500 crew members. However, these were not ordinary individuals. They were the elite of the Fourth Civilization Navy, chosen for their exception, all skills, and dedication. Darth Lilim's eyes sparkled with anticipation upon hearing their destination. "Master, are we targeting the 15th Army of the Galactic Republic? How splendid!" Darth Marthael responded with a frosty tone. "The 15th Army? Even a behemoth like the Plague is not sufficient to challenge the 15th Army with a single battleship. Our aim is not to engage them directly, but to mark a spectacular beginning." "As you command, my lord," Darth Lilim replied, bowing on one knee with reverence. In an instant, enveloped by a flash of white light, the Titan battleship Plague vanished into the hyperspace channel, leaving no trace behind. Planet Trigalis served as a crucial transportation hub for the 15th Army of the Galactic Republic, acting as a supply base on the outskirts of Kemet, the 15th Army's capital. The planet, home to approximately 10 million inhabitants, boasted 9 large spaceports that provided maintenance and supply services to the 15th Army's fleet. Suddenly, an urgent siren blared throughout the Terragalis Planetary Defense Center in Spaceport 6. "Sir, we've detected strong hyperspace fluctuations. It appears an entire fleet is approaching us," a radar operator reported, his voice laced with urgency. "Activate the defense system at once, deploy the defense fleet, and launch the fighter formation." The Republic commander ordered without hesitation. "Request immediate assistance from Kumet headquarters." Shortly after, a blinding flash of white light heralded the arrival of a colossal entity in the orbit of Trigalis. "This, sir, it's not a fleet. It's a single battleship, a Titan battleship." The radar operator stammered, disbelief evident in his voice. The commander, upon witnessing the sensor's image, was struck speechless, his mouth agape in astonishment. After a moment of stunned silence, he frantically grabbed the communicator, his voice tinged with hysteria. "Quick, we need help. A separatist super battleship has been spotted. No, it's more than that. It's 3 times the size of the super battleship in the Lendria galaxy. This is a 10,000-meter battleship." "Strong energy response detected," another operator announced. "The enemy ship is maneuvering. It's taking aim. Calculate its trajectory immediately. We must evade it. Sir, its target is us." Before the radar operator could finish, the microphone slipped from his grasp. A burst of dazzling light illuminated every corner of the vicinity, outshining even the stars of the Trigalis galaxy. The 400-meter diameter gun barrel of the Titan battleship Plague unleashed a beam of light so intense it resembled a galaxy unto itself. This overwhelming display of power was the last sight witnessed by everyone in Spaceport 6. Vol 2, Chapter 690, A Stunning Opening, Part 2. The Titan battleship Plague, utilizing a subcaliber projectile with a diameter of 366 meters, creates a mass effect reaction through the action of supermatter. This reaction, combined with the terrifying energy, accelerates the projectile to 1/10 the speed of light, launching it amidst a burst of dazzling light. Such massive ammunition cannot be produced on a planet. Instead, the plague directly harvests metal asteroid remnants near interstellar mines. After scanning to determine the center of gravity, the remnants are polished and stored. Even so, this formidable battleship is equipped with only 5 such bombs. If time were slowed down 1,000-fold, one would observe the shield of Space Station Number 6, orbiting the periphery of Trigalis planet, shattering in less than 0.001 seconds. The projectile penetrates the space station instantly, its powerful kinetic energy causing an immediate explosion. Countless fragments are propelled in the projectile's wake due to inertia, tearing and scattering to form a debris belt hundreds of kilometers long in the direction of the projectile's flight. To the naked eye, this event appears as a mere flash of light before Space Station Number 6 transforms into an expanding debris belt, stretching hundreds of kilometers. Every structure, component, human body, and object within is reduced to fragments no larger than a finger by the devastating kinetic energy. Nearby spaceships and fighter jets caught in the debris suffer damage and destruction, resulting in significant losses. The spectacle leaves witnesses in a state of shock, their blood running cold. After a half-minute of stunned silence, screams, exclamations, vomiting, and cries erupt from all corners. This single strike effectively demolishes the will to resist of the entire Trigalis planet. Yet, amidst the chaos, several valiant members of the Planetary Defense Force roar as they pilot their spaceships, daring to confront the Titan battleship plague. "Change to scatter projectiles," commands Darth Marthale from the bridge of the plague, his voice cold and detached. Darth Lilum, unable to contain her excitement, grabs Darth Marthale's hand, laughing heartily. "That shot hit their command center directly. Ha!" Darth Marthale remains unmoved, his tone icy. The Force reveals much, but one must also discern the underlying essence. By analyzing the population and behavior of these space stations, we can identify the armed stations, the spaceports, and the command centers. At the rear of the Titan battleship Plague, a supermaterial electromagnetic gun, over 800 meters in length, leads directly to the ship's energy core. In the staging area, operators use massive loading equipment to load hundreds of scatter projectiles, ranging from 5 to 20 meters in diameter, into the barrel. These projectiles are then confined into a sphere by a magnetic field. As the defenders of planet Trigalis, consisting of dozens of small warships and over 100 fighter jets, charge towards them, the 4 massive structures that comprise the 10,000-meter gun barrel of the Titan battleship Plague begin to slowly open, forming a trumpet shape. The front end of the barrel expands, its diameter exceeding 500 meters. Darth Marthale, observing the position of the Trigalis defenders on the Plague's sensors, taps into the Force, glimpsing through the river of time. At the most devastating moment, he decisively issues the command, "Fire!" The resulting shockwave surpasses that of the initial strike. Hundreds of projectiles are launched, each exploding to release an even greater number of smaller projectiles, creating a devastating barrage. Inside the vast expanse of space, the scene unfolded with a terrifying spectacle. The weapon, known as the Plague, unleashed its fury, splitting into millions of projectiles that created a barrage spanning thousands of kilometers. Every ship and fighter jet that dared enter this range was obliterated. The defenders, who had set out with bravery, not expecting to return alive, were shocked to their core as they were decimated by this overwhelming attack. The remnants of their vessels, propelled by the residual inertia of the projectiles, cascaded towards the planet of Trigalis, creating a meteor shower of destruction. In a mere 10 minutes, Trigalis was stripped of its defenses. Despite the planet activating its planetary shield at the first sign of trouble, the despair was palpable among those stationed at the remaining 8 spaceports in orbit. The fixed turrets, though firing desperately, were no match for the Plague's shields with their small air-to-ship multifunctional turbo-laser cannons. It was then that the public channel flickered to life, revealing Darth Marthale, shrouded in a black cloak, his presence ominous. Beside him, Darth Lilim, with the grace of a sinister serpent, wrapped around Marthel, a wicked smile playing on her lips. I am the fallen angel, a champion for the oppressed peoples of the Outer Ring Star regions, Darth Marthael declared, his voice cold and unyielding. The battleship that severed the supply line of the Hydia Channel was known as Fang, my little toy. This broadcast was not limited to Trigalis, but reached the ears of the Republic and the Confederacy of Independent Systems as well. Upon witnessing this communication, Count Dooku's expression darkened, murmuring to himself, "Since when did the Fang become his possession?" A realization dawned on him, further souring his mood as he let out a heavy snort. Simultaneously, President of the Galactic Council, Shiv Palpatine, upon seeing the transmission, urgently reached out to Master Yoda and Master Windu. With a grave tone, Palpatine expressed his concern. I had believed the Fang to be the ultimate weapon of the Separatists. Little did I expect they would possess such a formidable battleship and such a formidable adversary. The Angel of Death will pose the greatest threat to this galaxy. Master Windu and Master Yoda, observing the figure in the holographic projection, remained silent, their expressions solemn. Darth Marthael's voice cut through the tension once more. Cease your attacks on the Fang immediately, or I will obliterate the entire planet of Trigalis. The choice is yours. He paused, his voice icy. My patience has its limits. You have 5 minutes to decide. Following his words, a 5-minute countdown ominously appeared on the screen, marking the time left for their decision. Vol 2, Chapter 691, Hunt for Fangs, 8. The battle in the Lendrian system reached its climax unexpectedly when the Titan battleship Plague made a sudden appearance on the planet of Trigalis. The battlecruiser Venom, already battered, was in a frantic escape, pursued by 3 Chaser-class battlecruisers that fired relentlessly. The turbo laser cannon unleashed powerful bursts of energy beams onto the armor of the battleship Fang, causing shattered pieces to fly off in all directions. Despite the prolonged attack, Fang remained resilient. Fang fought back, but its options were limited due to the few turrets capable of targeting the pursuers directly. The shield system, previously repaired, was overloaded and failed again under the continuous barrage. General Grievous, left with no choice, ordered the battleship to continue its escape while attempting to repair the shield system and initiate a hyperspace jump. However, the continuous attacks necessitated constant adjustments to the hyperspace jump parameters, and the damaged hull's energy pipeline further complicated the situation. Despite General Grievous's frustration, demonstrated by decapitating 3 B-1 robots in anger, the Venom was unable to enter hyperspace. During this tense moment, a communication from Darth Marthael reached Fang. General Grievous, his terrifying vertical pupils visible beneath his steel mask, stared at the gloomy figure on the screen with a peculiar intensity. Meanwhile, aboard the flagship Resolute of the 3 Chaser-class battlecruisers pursuing Fang, Master Plo Koon, Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano, and the sisters Luna Meng and Luna Phantom also received the communication. How could the rear supply center on the planet Intergalactic be sneak attacked by such a massive warship? Obi-Wan Kenobi pondered with a frown. Master Plo Koon offered an explanation. The only possibility is that the warship moved to the planet Shada B. Brown in advance. That planet experienced a supernova explosion 20 years ago, leaving the galaxy filled with gamma-ray streams. Using this as cover, they launched a surprise attack on Trigalis. So, the Separatists planned this in advance, Anakin Skywalker speculated. Ahsoka Tano considered this, then questioned, but why isn't this ship attacking the capital of the 15th Army on the planet Quemet directly? It must be because they dare not confront the heavily fortified capital, Anakin concluded. What do we do now? Ahsoka Tano asked, spreading her hands. We can't just let the people of Trigalis be slaughtered. It might take some time for the 15th Army's reinforcements to arrive. Obi-Wan Kenobi remained silent, his expression grave. At that moment, a communication from the Jedi Order connected, bringing the images of Master Windu and Master Yoda into view. Everyone present bowed and saluted in respect. The Sith Lord, Angel of Death, has taken the planet Trigalis hostage, demanding we cease our attack on the Separatist super battleship Venom, Master Windu revealed, observing everyone's reactions. Obi-Wan Kenobi's frown deepened, Anakin's face was etched with anger, and Ahsoka appeared contemplative. Master Plo Koon's expression was obscured by his mask. "We must consider our options carefully," Master Windu advised. Another communication came through, this time from Speaker Shiv Palpatine. "The news has leaked." This communication was broadcast across the Galactic Holographic Network, creating a severe political incident. "We must consider the innocent people of Trigalis," he stated earnestly. "The Fang is severely damaged. Even if we let it go this time, we can confidently destroy it next time, now that we know its weaknesses. I have faith in the strength of the Jedi Order." "Continue the attack," came a firm voice, breaking the silence. It was the Luna sisters who had been quiet until now. Their unexpected interjection added a new layer of determination to the discussion, highlighting the complexity of the situation and the difficult decisions that lay ahead. Luna Huan spoke, with a cold resolve. "If we allow this precedent to be set, then every time the Separatists are defeated, they will resort to threatening us with a planet. We can never win the war this way." But even with the planetary shield activated, there are still hundreds of thousands of soldiers and civilians at the outer spaceports of Trigalis. Ahsoka Tano protested, her voice filled with urgency. Luna Meng added, "Allowing the Fang to escape would result in the deaths of hundreds of thousands. Human life cannot be reduced to mere numbers." Anakin, visibly agitated, shouted, "Human life cannot be calculated by numbers." His chest heaved with emotion, betraying his inner turmoil. But, I can't just—" Master Windu, observing the Dream Sisters, nodded in approval. Master Yoda, with a firm tone, commanded, "Continue the attack. This is my order." "This is also my order. Master Pulo, Master Obi-Wan, you are to execute this order. The consequences of this action do not fall on you," Master Windu declared solemnly. A flicker of anger passed unnoticed across Palpatine's face. Obi-Wan Kenobi, looking at the countdown displayed on the public frequency, pressed the fleet's internal command channel and announced, "I, Obi-Wan Kenobi, as the frontline commander, order the continuation of the attack on the Fang. Use all available means to destroy it as swiftly as possible." Following his command, the countdown on the public frequency hit 0. Darth Marthael sneered, "It seems negotiations have failed, so fire." The Titan battleship Plague, having completed its charging, fired once more. Spaceport 3 outside Trigalis was obliterated in a single strike, leaving behind a trail of debris stretching hundreds of kilometers. The Plague's main battery began charging for another shot. In the Lendria galaxy, several Jedi Knights, along with their officers and soldiers, united in their fury, launched an even more ferocious attack on the Fang. Anakin sprinted to the hangar platform and declared, "While the Fang's shield is down, we can board the battleship directly. We must capture Grievous and destroy the hyperdrive." "Master, I'll accompany you," Ahsoka Tano quickly volunteered. "Master Pulo, given your recent injury, you should stay here to command." "I'll assist in the mission," Obi-Wan Kenobi offered. The Dream Sisters exchanged a glance and said in unison, "We can assist as well. Let's go together." Their determination was met with nods of approval from Master Windu and Master Yoda, their expressions softening. Speaker Palpatine sighed. "Go. I will bear the consequences of this incident. We will hold a public memorial for the hundreds of thousands who will perish on Trigalis. I trust your judgment, Master Yoda, and will support you. I only hope you won't disappoint me." With that, he ended the communication. "Master Puluo, the battle against the Fang is in your hands," Master Windu said, acknowledging Puluo Kong with a nod. Vol 2, Chapter 692, One-Sided Slaughter. Darth Marthael closely monitored the battle in the Lendria system, particularly the moment the battleship Fang was destroyed. Like the caution he exercised after the death of Darth Plagueis, Marthael understood that even the smallest actions could have monumental consequences. His arrival in this world had already altered the course of events significantly, doubling the number of Sith Lords and introducing unpredictable variables. To mitigate these uncertainties, Marthael enlisted the help of the Dream Sisters as a form of insurance. The relationship between Darth Marthael and the Dream Sisters was unconventional. It wasn't the typical hierarchy of superiors and subordinates, especially since joining the Jedi Order meant severing all ties with their past lives. The Dream Sisters, being part of an earlier batch of embryos with an inexplicable affinity for the Force, had been influenced by subtle sleep cues from a young age. These cues, while not strong, nudged their decision-making slightly, fostering a mild favoritism towards Marthael. To him, the Dream Sisters were akin to admirers or fans rather than direct subordinates. Despite their independence, the Dream Sisters occasionally sought Marthael's counsel and willingly assisted him and the Fourth Civilization when they deemed it appropriate. This time, Marthael had forewarned them about the Fang, advising them to seize any opportunity to destroy the formidable 5,000-meter-long super battleship. Their agreement to participate brought Marthael a sense of relief, as he was well aware of their formidable capabilities, secrets not even Master Windu or Master Yoda were privy to, known only to their master, Deepa Billaba, within the Jedi Order. Their talent posed a threat potentially more devastating than Order 66. However, Marthael remained uncertain about the Dream Sisters' true motives. Were they driven by ambition, righteousness, wealth, strength, or perhaps something he suspected to be more accurate, mere amusement? As these thoughts crossed his mind, the Titan battleship Plague completed its fourth charge. Marthael coldly ordered the destruction of the spaceport on planet Trigulus, resulting in its obliteration. Following the attack, the radar operator reported significant hyperspace activity, likely from the Republic's 15th Army, mobilizing all active spaceships in the vicinity. Marthael instructed his team to confirm the movements of the enemy's main fleet. An intelligence officer reported that the 15th Army's headquarters fleet had departed from their base, and the frontline fleet had changed course. Satisfied, Marthael ordered the distribution of the combat footage to the major news networks of the Confederation of Independent Systems, deliberately choosing not to broadcast it to the Republic despite having the means to do so. His strategy aimed to elicit a specific response from the Confederation. Meanwhile, outside the gravitational pull of the Terragalus galaxy, the chaotic flicker of white light signaled the arrival of hundreds of warships and fighter jets equipped with hyperspace capabilities, ready to engage in the unfolding conflict. Engines emerged from hyperspace, revealing themselves with a sudden appearance. The battleships charged forward, targeting the formidable behemoth known as the Plague. The public communication channel was momentarily flooded with the Republic pilots' curses and insults. The soldiers in the communications group, maintaining their professionalism, muted the broadcast of the public frequency. Despite this, they continued to monitor and scan every transmission on the channel, ensuring no critical information was overlooked, though the likelihood was slim. In a way, the communications group's soldiers bore the brunt of the verbal onslaught. Whenever the opposing forces exchanged taunts over the public frequency, it was they who endured the brunt of the insults. Darth Marthael, with a push, distanced himself from Darth Lilim, who was still clinging to him. His voice was cold and authoritative as he commanded, "I entrust the Sith infiltrator to you. Lead the fighter squadron, take off, and eliminate those rogue troops. The more the better. None shall survive." Darth Lilim, not daring to overstep, knelt on one knee, lightly kissed the back of Darth Marthael's hand, and then, with a serpentine grace, made her way out. Beneath the Titan battleship Plague, the hangar platform at the rear section opened. Darth Lilim, aboard the Sith infiltrator Red Comet, shot out like a bolt of lightning, followed by a squadron of 100 ghost fighters. Despite the Plague's primary cannon being inoperative, its hangar could still accommodate 120 ghost fighters. After launching, the fighter squadron spread out to widen the Plague's firing arc. Then, both the ghost fighters and the Sith infiltrator activated their stealth modes, vanishing from sight. The Plague unleashed its arsenal. Even without deploying its most formidable weapon, this Ragnarov-class Titan battleship was heavily armed. A barrage of missiles and lasers rained down upon the disorganized enemy fleet. Dozens of spaceships were obliterated almost instantly. However, the enraged Republic pilots, undeterred by their losses, charged ahead, colliding with the invisible fighter formation. The stealth ghost fighters, still cloaked, launched a volley of Gemini missiles, followed by a concentrated burst of pulsed laser fire. Without centralized command, the smaller warships stood no chance against the stealth fighters, which barely registered as faint blips on their radars. As for the Sith infiltrator Red Comet, it had completely disappeared from view. The spaceships targeted by Darth Lilim were caught off guard, unable to detect the source or timing of the attacks. Witnessing the one-sided slaughter, Darth Marthael spoke indifferently. "Turn around, begin calculating the hyperspace parameters, and prepare for departure." In the Lendria system, the Jedi Knights, fueled by a surge of determination, launched from the hangar platform in their fighter jets, setting their sights on the formidable battleship Fang. Luna Meng and Luna Huan, utilizing the Force, conjured the illusion of hundreds of fighter jets, leading the battleship Fang's anti-aircraft defenses to target these phantoms. This tactic proved particularly effective against the Confederation of Independent Systems, which relied heavily on droids to man their warships. While an experienced pilot could distinguish the illusory jets from the real ones based on their sluggish movements, the droid-operated turrets could not, continuing to fire at the illusions as their programming insisted the targets remained. Amidst this chaos, the Jedi Knights, elite in their ranks, faced little resistance from the battleship Fang, which had already lost its complement of carrier-based aircraft. Under the protective guise of the Jedi and their illusions, several shuttles packed with clone Marines launched from 3 Chariot-class battlecruisers, breaching the unshielded hangar platform of the Fang. T-850 Robot Rock Johnson, wielding a blasting machine gun in each hand, led a ferocious assault, decimating the B-1 battle droid formation that attempted to counter. Following this, the Jedi pilots bombarded the hangar with high-power explosive cannons and missiles, destroying internal defense turrets and preventing the hangar doors from closing. Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ahsoka Tano, and the Dream Sisters then disembarked from their jets, leading the clone troopers deeper into the USS Fang. The battleship, originally crewed by 23,500 droids and 60,000 B-1 battle droids, had suffered significant losses in a prior explosion, forcing General Grievous to redeploy numerous Marine droids to maintain operations, causing disarray among the crew. Despite efforts to intercept the invading forces, the droids were overwhelmed. "Sister, create the illusion. They're all droids. Just conjure up some random ones," Luna Phantom suggested with a grin. "Consider it done," Luna Meng responded cheerfully. Luna Huan raised her hand, and hundreds of illusory mechanical spheres, each armed with large-caliber rocket launchers, appeared above the landing troops. A contingent of B-1 combat droids, including several destroyer units, charged at them, firing relentlessly. However, the clone troopers, unharmed by the barrage, easily dispatched their adversaries. After clearing the area, Anakin and his team commandeered one of the internal rail freight trains on the battleship Fang, speeding towards the core of the vessel. On the bridge, General Grievous ordered an immediate hyperspace jump, hoping to escape with the Jedi still aboard. 5 minutes, sir, the hyperdrive operating droid reported. "Send all available droids to protect the hyperdrive. We cannot let the Jedi destroy it," Grievous commanded. But before he could secure the hyperdrive, a violent tremor shook the battleship Fang, signaling the Jedi's relentless advance. The hyperspace engine controller turned back and addressed General Grievous. "Sir, we've encountered an unforeseen issue and need to recalculate the hyperspace jump parameters. The recalibration will take approximately 88,761 hours and 48 minutes. "Ah, excellent work. Take your time," General Grievous responded, offering a pat on the robot's shoulder before turning and exiting the bridge. Shortly thereafter, a sleek, black-modified Belgrub 22 fighter jet, known as the Solus, launched from the hangar platform of the battleship Fang. It swiftly evaded the Republic fighters besieging the Fang's perimeter and initiated a hyperspace jump, leaving the battlefield behind. Inside his fighter, General Grievous activated the communication system and connected with Count Dooku, whose image was projected via hologram. "Master, the Jedi Knights have destroyed the Fang," he reported. Count Dooku inhaled deeply, visibly containing his anger, and replied in a somber tone, "Very well. Return to headquarters, for now. Rest and await further instructions." Meanwhile, on the planet of Trigalis, the main fleet of the Republic's 15th Army made its arrival, with over 30 Chaser-class battlecruisers emerging from hyperspace. What greeted them, however, was a scene of devastation. Fragments of 3 demolished spaceports and the wreckage of over 200 small warships littered the area. Across the galaxy, near the gravitational pull of another system, the Titan battleship Plague was busy recovering its fighter jets. The Republic fleet, fueled by vengeance for their fallen comrades, let out a collective roar of determination. "Avenge our colleagues! Avenge your comrades," they shouted, steering their battleship towards the Plague and unleashing a barrage of firepower. As the battle raged on, General Grievous, aboard his fighter, the Soulless, once again made contact with Count Dooku. "Master, the Jedi Knights have destroyed the Fang," he repeated, ensuring the message was received. Count Dooku, managing his frustration, instructed Grievous with a calm yet stern voice, "Return to headquarters, rest, and wait for your next orders." Back on Trigalis, the Republic's 15th Army was faced with the aftermath of a fierce battle, the remnants of their enemy's defenses floating in space as a grim reminder of the conflict. Meanwhile, the Titan battleship Plague continued its operations, seemingly undeterred by the Republic's vengeful assault. The soldiers, driven by the memory of their fallen, pressed on, their cries for vengeance echoing through the void as they advanced towards their next confrontation. Vol. 2, Chapter 694, New Nightmare. The battleship Venom met its demise by crashing headfirst onto the desolate planet of Lendaria. After the Jedi successfully sabotaged the warship's hyperdrive, General Grievous, realizing the situation was beyond salvage, made his escape in his fighter, the Soulless. Despite his departure, he continued to command the Venom remotely in a desperate last stand. Following the destruction of the hyperdrive, the Jedi chose not to engage with the swarms of robots that surged towards them, swiftly making their escape from the loading platform of the battleship. In a twist of fate, robot repairmen managed to fix the hyperdrive within minutes after the Jedi's departure. However, thanks to Anakin Skywalker's foresight in tampering with the navigation computer's data, the Venom's attempt at a hyperspace jump was miscalculated, leading to its crash on Lendria. Had Admiral Grievous been aboard at the time, there might have been a chance to correct the error and salvage the formidable super battleship. Unfortunately, Grievous was already fleeing the scene. For the Republic, the threat of the Venom was neutralized, but a new, more ominous shadow loomed over them: the Plague. The source of the leak remains unknown, but despite Darth Marthail's efforts to keep it from the Galactic Republic, news of the battleship and the massacre on Terragallis spread rapidly. The incident, which resulted in over 300,000 military and civilian casualties, weighed heavily on the hearts of the Republic's citizens, exacerbated by those with ulterior motives. The 15th Republic Army's slow and ineffective response to the Plague's sudden assault drew widespread criticism. How to defeat the Plague became a pressing question, highlighted by the Republic Holographic News Network with a dramatic front-page headline that featured a blurred image of the Plague and the destruction of Terragallis' spaceport. In response to the growing concern, Galactic Council Speaker Skiff Palpatine convened an urgent meeting with the Jedi Order, the 3 major industrial giants, and the Republic's Supreme Strategic Command to discuss the Plague threat. Contrary to the public's panic, the industrial giants remained composed. Lila Blissex, chief engineer of the Quat Power Dock, confidently dismissed the Plague's threat, suggesting that their proposed 17,500-meter Superstar Destroyer design could easily overpower the Plague, just as it could the Venom. The engineers from Lundilli Interstellar Dynamics and Corellia Engineering agreed, showing little concern over the new menace. Palpatine, intrigued, probed further, to which Blissex explained that the Plague's design was merely an accumulation of firepower and energy levels. In comparison, the Venom's EMP capabilities posed a more complex challenge, implying that a larger and more powerful ship could easily outmatch the Plague. Palpatine's response was a sly encouragement for the engineers to expedite the Superstar Destroyer's design. However, Master Windu interjected, pointing out that the Republic could not afford to wait. He emphasized that the Plague's weaknesses were more apparent than the Venom's, suggesting that without fleet cover, the Plague could be vulnerable to a strategic attack. "Eliminate the Plague," Master Yoda stated firmly. "It will bolster our defenses, ensuring unity. No single ship will dare attack after the Fang is vanquished. Indeed, the battle against the Fangs demonstrated the strength of the Jedi Order. I am confident we will achieve the same success against the Plague, Palpatine added, his smile conveying a sense of assurance. We must remain vigilant. Should the Plague reemerge, we must capture it immediately to prevent a repeat of the Trigalis tragedy. After the meeting, Senator Palpatine discreetly made his way to the desolate industrial sector of Coruscant. There, he activated his communicator, summoning the holographic projection of Count Dooku. Dooku knelt, expressing his respect, and said, "My lord, I admit my failure with the venomous Fang allowed Jedi Knights an advantage. I assure you, such a mistake will not happen again." "Why do you assume you'll have another opportunity?" Darth Sidious's voice, twisted and menacing, carried a palpable chill. "Next, I plan to restructure the fleet around the Plague, delivering a crippling blow to the Republic. I anticipate the demise of more Jedi Knights in the battle against the Plague, but—" Before Dooku could finish, Darth Sidious, using the Force, strangled him from across the galaxy, demonstrating the terrifying power of the dark side. Sidious then flung Dooku aside with a mere gesture. "I instructed you to destroy the Plague," Sidious hissed. "My lord, we've lost the Fang," Dooku managed to say, picking himself up. "Do you really want me to repeat myself a third time?" Sidious's tone was icy. "No, my lord, I will immediately see to the matters concerning the Plague," Dooku quickly conceded, bowing deeply. "However, I must ask for clarity on our strategy post-Plague destruction. The Fang, and now the Plague, are symbols of power within the Confederacy. Destroying both might prematurely end the war. When the war concludes, the Republic, the Jedi Order, and the Confederation of Independent Systems will all be irrelevant. Only I will matter," Sidious declared, his hands clenching the air as if grasping the future itself. The environment seemed to quake under his influence. Then, softening his tone, he added, "Once the Plague is eradicated, I will find other ways to empower the Confederacy." "But why specifically Target?" Dooku began. "I simply detest the name," Sidious interrupted, his whims shaping the fate of galaxies with a mere whim. Vol. 2, Chapter 695, Battle Plan. After concluding the communication, Count Dooku rose to his feet. With a slight exertion of force, the communicator in his hand was crushed into fragments. He opened his hand, letting the shards, stained with his blood, fall to the ground as the flames of anger blazed in his eyes. "Is this grand scheme merely a product of your whims, Sidious?" Count Dooku murmured, his voice low and filled with disdain. He retrieved a neatly folded towel from his chest pocket, wiped his hands clean, and then casually tossed the towel to a cleaning robot. Without another word, he turned and strode away. Outside, General Grievous knelt, utterly still. "The loss of the Fang was a grave mistake, Grievous," Count Dooku stated icily. "I intend to cleanse this dishonor with the blood of the Republic." General Grievous, head bowed, responded, "I will prove my worth." "Indeed? Then show me," Count Dooku challenged. "I have orchestrated raids on Anath and Bakura. Await my triumphant news," General Grievous declared. "Anath and Bakura, why target these two planets?" Count Dooku inquired, his interest piqued. He gestured, and a holographic star map materialized from the device beside him. General Grievous revealed a sly grin. "These raids mark the beginning of an extensive assault campaign I've devised. Once we achieve victory—" Count Dooku interrupted with a dismissive wave. "Spare me the details. Present your victories to me directly when the time comes." "Understood," General Grievous replied, bowing before exiting. In the Endor galaxy, aboard the Mothership Glory, the Combat Command Center buzzed with activity. "We need to strategize the deployment of the Plague now that it's part of the Confederation of Independent Systems battle fleet. How do we best utilize this Titan battleship?" Tang Xiao inquired from the head of the table. "The situation is challenging. We're currently seizing planets under the control of the 19th Army, facing stiff resistance. Meanwhile, the 18th Army is reinforcing some of these planets, and the Republic's 20th Army is attempting to intimidate the Grand People from the north. Fortunately, the Jiwen people's home planet, Jag-Dur, situated at the heart of the hyperspace channel, has declared neutrality, blocking the Republic fleet's passage for several months," Chief of Staff Qi Jian reported. "I propose a strike on the 18th Army, led by the Plague. It could significantly weaken their fleet and alleviate future pressures, Admiral Matt Horner suggested via holographic projection. Terminus, a key junction of the Hydia and Corellian trade routes, would be an ideal target. Capturing it would pose a greater threat to the 18th Army's headquarters on planet Eliadu. Your strategic acumen is astonishing, Admiral Horner, Severance Tan mocked, joining the meeting through holography. But let's be realistic. Launching an assault now, without a solid foothold, how many of their ships can we realistically destroy? And how quickly can they rebuild? They'll soon adapt their defenses against the plague. Can we maintain such effectiveness in future battles? Severance Tan continued, her tone dripping with sarcasm. If I didn't know better, I'd suspect you were a Republic spy. She then began marking potential strategies on the star map. We must act without revealing the plague's involvement too soon. Amidst the conflict between the plague and the Fourth Civilization, two strategies were laid out. The first involved launching an assault on the planet Rylos, the capital of the 14th Army, which was currently besieged by the fleet of Techno-Union foreman Walter Tamber. This operation, deemed straightforward, aimed to assist the Techno-Union in annihilating the 14th Army, thereby drawing the Republic's attention. The second strategy proposed an attack on the planet Cato Neimoidia. Tang Xiao, upon hearing this, realized that the apparent disagreement between Severance Tan and Matt Horner was actually a struggle for command over the plague. Cato Neimoidia intrigued him. It was a Hall planet within the Inner Circle, serving as the headquarters of the Trade Federation and the homeworld of the Neimoidian people. Currently encircled by the Republic fleet, with the main force of the Second Republic Army largely concentrated there, Tang Xiao questioned the riskiness of such a raid. Severance Tan argued that raiding Cato Neimoidia would not only garner the support of the Trade Federation fleet, but also diplomatically draw the Trade Federation closer to their cause. By exploiting the current weakened state of the Republic's motor fleet, they could assist the Trade Federation in breaking the blockade, thereby posing a continuous threat to the Republic's inner circle. Matt Horner, however, pointed out that this plan did not align with their current strategic direction, which was to annex the control area of the 19th Army, unrelated to the 18th Army. Severance Tan's dismissive response prompted Tang Xiao to remind everyone of the importance of respect among colleagues and comrades in arms. When Tang Xiao sought the staff's opinion, Qi Jian expressed concerns about the high risk associated with the raid on Cato Neimoidia. Given the plague's mobility, retreating from the core of the Republic after such an operation would be challenging. He suggested that assisting Walter Tamber and taking control of planet Rylos was the most pragmatic option at the moment. However, Tang Xiao decided in favor of Cato Neimoidia, explaining that he could lend the plague to the Trade Federation temporarily until they managed to break through the inner circle. This decision was made from the perspective of Darth Marthel. Severance Tan, unable to hide her excitement, assured everyone that this would lead to another epic battle. Attachment 1 of the Easter egg chapter, the map detailing the situation around the Fourth Civilization, with red indicating the current control area, yellow marking the remnants of the 19th Army, and white showing the control area of the 18th Army. Star Wars: The Fourth Scourge. Discover the latest chapter, Vol 2, Chapter 696. The Occupying Forces. The occupation of Planet Haven and the destruction of the 19th Army of the Republic marked just the beginning for the Fourth Civilization. Unlike Planet Bespin, a remote outpost at the edge of the hyperspace channel, Planet Haven is a critical node on the Corellian trade route and a major transportation hub. The conquest of Planet Haven was a significant victory, but the resistance movement on the planet did not cease. In response, the Fourth Civilization deployed an army of 1 million robots and 50,000 human soldiers to Haven, initiating a ruthless suppression of the resistance. To intensify the crackdown, Tang Xiao, a high-ranking official, ordered the transfer of a special force of 10,000 from the prison planet Sunel to aid in the suppression efforts. Planet Sunel, ceded to the Fourth Civilization by the Eru people following a war, housed approximately 1 million felons. These prisoners, many of whom were political dissidents against the Eru rule, were notorious for their viciousness. As the fourth civilization expanded, the prison on planet Sinel grew to accommodate rebels from conquered territories, swelling the prisoner population to over 3 million. Despite its lack of mineral resources, Sinel's environment supported agriculture, particularly fisheries, allowing prisoners to engage in agricultural labor and produce food for the fourth civilization. Adjacent to the prison, a new barracks area was established to train able-bodied and ruthless prisoners willing to reduce their sentences by risking their lives in military service. These recruits underwent brutal training to join the ranks of the fourth civilization's army. Recognizing the nature of this force, Tang Xiao aptly named it the Beast Legion. For the 10,000 members of the Beast Legion deployed to Planet Haven, Tang Xiao had a single directive: quell any resistance to the fourth civilization's rule by any means necessary. His goal was to ensure the stability of Haven, regardless of the methods employed. As a Sith Lord and ruler, Tang Xiao's orders were unyielding. The inhabitants of Planet Haven, staunch loyalists to the Galactic Republic, were not open to negotiation or reason. Expanding an empire, especially one that challenges a nation with over 25,000 years of history, is a dirty business. The notion that commoners would welcome conquerors with open arms is a fantasy, reserved only for those with legendary reputations. However, the Magaris on Planet Haven viewed the fourth civilization's victory differently. Having originally owned the planet before it was seized by the Republic, they welcomed the promise to restore their control over Haven, making them unlikely allies in the fourth civilization's campaign. For the human population of Planet Haven, the arrival of the fourth civilization spelled disaster. Robot patrols roamed the streets around the clock, and drones frequently surveilled homes, peeking through windows and using sound collectors to eavesdrop on conversations. Residents were forbidden from closing their curtains. Any violation of this rule resulted in a minimum of 3 days of re-education through labor. Any utterance of disrespect towards the fourth civilization or the Confederation of Independent Systems was met with immediate intervention, often within 5 minutes. In the oppressive atmosphere of Planet Haven, the residents found themselves caught between a rock and a hard place. On one hand, they hoped for the arrival of robots, as these mechanical enforcers would merely transport them to centralized detention areas for labor reform. On the other hand, the prospect of the Beast Army's arrival filled them with dread, for their methods were far more brutal. Minor offenses could result in severe beatings, leaving victims with broken limbs, while more serious transgressions were met with death. The fourth civilization's grip on the planet was ironclad, demonstrated by their total control over communication networks. Televisions, radios, and internet services were hijacked, broadcasting not Hing, but propaganda that extolled the virtues of the fourth civilization and its formidable leader, Governor Tang Xiao. The citizens had no choice but to consume this content, mandated to watch at least 6 hours daily. Failure to comply, even by a minute, resulted in arrest and forced labor. Governor Tang Xiao, having observed the effectiveness of central feces collectors in quelling rebellions in other territories, ordered their installation throughout Planet Haven. This initiative not only served as a means of suppression, but also significantly empowered the public health department of the fourth civilization, elevating its status among the governing bodies. The capital's streets were a stark display of power. B-1 battle robots marched in endless formations, their movements so synchronized that they sounded like a single entity, yet the collective sound of their footsteps was thunderous. Accompanying them were ATT armored assault tanks, M650 Mastodon armored personnel carriers, and M9 Wolverine half-track armored anti-aircraft vehicles, showcasing the military might of the fourth civilization. As the robotic army paraded through the city, the residents, forced to the sidelines, waved the flags of the fourth civilization and the Confederation of Independent Systems. Fear was evident on their faces as they watched the imposing machines pass by, feeling the heat from the vehicle's exhausts. This daily ritual of forced adulation was a stark reminder of their subjugation. Amidst this display of power, a child, not yet 2 years old, cried out against the biting cold. His mother, quick to comfort him, held him close, her eyes wide with fear as she glanced at the passing robots, dreading their attention. Despite her fear, she clutched the flag of the Fourth Civilization tightly, her knuckles white from the grip. Her body trembled, not just from the cold, but from the overwhelming fear and the effort to appear compliant in the eyes of their oppressors. Vol 2, Chapter 697, The Battle of Loda Planet. In the central ring of the Milky Way, within the territory that once belonged to the 19th Army of the Republic, lies the planet Loda. This world was once a remote weapons testing base for the Sith Empire thousands of years ago. Despite being ravaged by war and left in ruins, some of its industrial facilities remained intact. Over time, the indigenous people of Loda, known for their slightly rougher skin and the custom of tattooing their arms, maintained a culture filled with violence and expansionist tendencies. They were only subdued into submission to the Republic through force. The Loda people, while genetically similar to humans, harbored little interest in the Republic. However, when the forces of the Fourth Civilization began their descent onto Loda, they were met with fierce resistance. The Loda people's allegiance was peculiar. Despite their history as remnants of the Sith Empire, they aspired to serve the Hutt Empire, believing in its eventual resurgence to dominate the galaxy. This belief was perhaps influenced by the Loda people's involvement in smuggling and mercenary activities, sectors in which the Hutt were unrivaled leaders. With a martial culture and a solid industrial foundation, the Loda people boasted formidable combat capabilities, supported by a vast smuggling fleet. The capture of Planet Haven by the Fourth Civilization prompted the Loda to mobilize their fleet, leading to a brutal confrontation. The Loda's smuggling fleet also engaged in guerrilla warfare, disrupting the supply lines of the Fourth Civilization's forces. Governor Wilhoff Talking of the 18th Army, recognizing the Loda's plight, began to secretly aid them, supplying the guerrilla fleet with the resources needed to continue their harassment of the Fourth Civilization. Severance Tan, viewing the conflict with disdain, delegated the responsibility to her adjutant, Lin Nanyi, under the guise of training. In contrast, Admiral Matt Horner actively engaged in quelling the disturbances, working alongside Lin Nanyi to corner the Loda's guerrilla fleet and secure the hyperspace lanes. Despite their efforts, the Loda's attacks persisted, preventing the Fourth Civilization from focusing elsewhere. The battle for the planet Loda turned into a quagmire. Initially, the Loda resisted fiercely, prompting the Fourth Civilization to deploy a squadron to besiege the planet. Although their large warships were incapable of atmospheric combat, numerous Wraith and Banshee fighters launched from Sova-class aircraft carriers bombarded Loda's major cities. This bombardment, while sparing the planet from orbital strikes, came with an ultimatum: surrender within 24 standard Milky Way hours or face the destruction of a city every 3 hours, escalating from the smallest to the largest. Even after issuing the ultimatum, the Ghost and Banshee fighters continued their relentless assault, firing missiles and diving to unleash pulsed lasers and cluster rockets on the cities below. The air defenses of planet Loda were quickly overwhelmed, marking a critical phase in the battle for Loda Planet. Within 2 hours of the conflict's onset, the Air Force of planet Loda found themselves utterly outmatched by the Ghost and Banshee fighters of the Fourth Civilization. These advanced fighters, cloaked in invisibility, left the defenders powerless and swiftly decimated their ranks. Despite this overwhelming disadvantage, the government of planet Loda delayed their surrender until the final hour of the ultimatum issued by the Fourth Civilization. However, upon surrendering, they revealed a startling truth. Control over the planet had been lost, possibly to rebels, and they implored the Fourth Civilization to dispatch troops to quell the descent. It was only when the Fourth Civilization's forces commenced their landing operations that the true extent of Loda's defiance became apparent. The planet's military had not capitulated. Instead, they had strategically dispersed into the dense jungles and sprawling suburbs, breaking down into smaller units prepared for prolonged guerrilla warfare. Their surrender had been a tactical move, aimed solely at avoiding the catastrophic consequences of orbital bombardment. Severance Tan, viewing this type of warfare with disdain, delegated the responsibility of quelling the insurgency to her adjutant, Lin Nanyi. Officially, this was to provide him with practical experience, but unofficially, Tan had no interest in the messy, drawn-out nature of guerrilla conflict. In contrast, Admiral Matt Horner approached the situation with relentless determination, addressing problems as they arose and working closely with Lin Nanyi. Together, they managed to secure several critical hyperspace lanes, ensuring the continuity of supply lines despite constant harassment from Loda's guerrilla fleet. The resistance on planet Loda proved to be tenacious. In response, the Fourth Civilization deployed a squadron to breach the planet's outer space defenses and establish a siege. Although their large warships were incapable of atmospheric combat, a fleet of Wraith and Banshee fighters launched from Sova-class aircraft carriers executed devastating bombing runs on Loda's major cities. This show of force was intended as a final warning. Surrender within 24 hours, according to the standard time of the Milky Way, or face the destruction of a city every 3 hours, escalating from the smallest to the largest. Despite issuing the ultimatum, the Ghost and Banshee fighters continued their relentless assault, bombarding the cities with missiles, pulsed lasers, and cluster rockets. The government of planet Loda, faced with the imminent threat of orbital bombardment and the relentless assault from the air, ultimately chose to surrender in the 11th hour. However, their admission of losing control over the planet and the subsequent discovery of the dispersed military forces prepared for guerrilla warfare revealed a complex layer of strategy and defiance. The fear of orbital bombardment had been the sole motivator for their surrender, not a genuine capitulation, setting the stage for a protracted and arduous conflict on the ground. In the dense jungles of planet Loda, a specialized jungle army unit is taking a brief respite within their encampment. Clad in jungle camouflage uniforms and faces painted with waterproof green oil paint, they are equipped with an array of tools including ropes, multifunction knives, crossbows, insect repellents, and whistles. Their expertise is evident as they skillfully handle the small game they've recently hunted, clearly indicating their veteran status. The camp is fortified with alarm devices and traps strategically placed around its perimeter, with vigilant sentinels monitoring the surroundings at all times to ensure the camp's security. Thanks to their meticulous camouflage, the campsite blends seamlessly with the jungle, making it nearly indistinguishable from the surrounding environment even from a short distance. These troops, handpicked by the Loda people, are part of a strategic plan to counter the influence of the Fourth Civilization through both military might and the activities of the Loda smuggling fleet. Rejecting the authority of the Republic and the Fourth Civilization alike, they pledge allegiance only to the Hutts. A month or two earlier, Tang Xiao could have leveraged his connections with the Hutts Alak Besadi to bring the Loda people to heel, ensuring their compliance, if not their outright obedience. However, given the current delicate relationship between the Fourth Civilization and the Hutts, Tang Xiao cannot risk allowing the Loda people any contact with the Hutts, which could potentially undermine the Fourth Civilization's control. The Loda people harbor ambitions of their own. Despite the Fourth Civilization's success in ousting the Republic's power, the Loda people see an opportunity to claim independence by exploiting the power struggle between the Republic and the Fourth Civilization. They envision a scenario where, after a series of conflicts, the Fourth Civilization retreats, allowing the Loda people to superficially acknowledge the Republic's rule while effectively governing themselves as an independent entity. However, the Loda people's calculations fail to account for several critical factors, including their underestimation of the Fourth Civilization's capabilities and resources, such as the Ewoks. In the central camp, Loda commanders are meticulously planning their next move. We'll eat in shifts for the next 30 minutes, then head north to join forces with the 18th and 22nd Battalions for a raid on Chiron City's town hall, one commander outlines. He explains that separatist officials have completed their transition and are currently stationed in the city hall, where insiders are prepared to relay information and potentially sow discord among the separatists. The commander details the objectives for the upcoming operation. The 18th Battalion is tasked with capturing stealth fighters from the Chirun City spaceport, while the 22nd Battalion aims to take control of the Chirun City barracks. He notes that the Separatists have stationed their human forces in a suburban university and their robot army in a factory area, but expresses confidence that the human forces can be easily overwhelmed, rendering the robot army vulnerable. Meanwhile, on the outskirts of the camp, a Lotus sentinel concealed by leaves sits perched in a tree, blending in perfectly with his surroundings. Armed with a sniper crossbow gun camouflaged with leaves, he vigilantly scans the area through his telescope, alternating between infrared and thermal detection modes to ensure no threat goes unnoticed. His dedication and skill mark him as one of the elite members of this jungle army unit. For several hours, the sentry remained motionless, blending seamlessly with his surroundings. Only the occasional breeze prompted him to adjust his position slightly, using the movement of the leaves as cover. He methodically scanned the area through his telescope, detecting nothing out of the ordinary. Unbeknownst to him, a single eye opened in the grass nearby, watching him intently. This observer, hidden at a distance that acquired the sentry to use a telescope to see clearly, had a perfect view of the Lotus sentry's position. Believing his surroundings to be secure, the sentry quietly activated the communicator near his throat. Without moving his lips, he whispered, "The A3 sentry is normal," before turning off the device. It was at this moment of utmost vulnerability that a nearly invisible poisonous arrow struck him in the neck. His eyes widened in shock as he instinctively reached to sound the alarm, only to realize with horror that he could neither make a sound nor breathe. It felt as though something was smothering him, blocking his nose and mouth. In a desperate attempt to breathe, he tore off his air filter mask and the communicator, but the suffocating sensation persisted. Panic set in as he noticed the veins in his neck, where the arrow had struck, beginning to bulge and turn green. He attempted to leap down from the tree for help, but a small, furry hand emerged from behind and firmly held him in place. Despite its size, suggesting the owner was no larger than a child, the hand possessed an overwhelming strength. The sentry, now suffocating and powerless, could only experience the terrifying ebb of life until his body finally went limp. In less than a minute, 28 sentry posts around the camp were simultaneously attacked, each falling within a second of signaling safety. Meanwhile, in the command post, the Lotus commander was outlining the battle plan with fervor. "Our mission is to capture the city hall, seize all officials appointed by the Separatists, and hang them alive on the street lamps outside the city hall. We will show these backwater inhabitants of the Dawn planet the might of the Lotus people." However, his declaration was abruptly cut short as the camp fell under a surprise attack. The jungle erupted with the sounds of an unfamiliar language, followed by a barrage of poisonous arrows raining down on the Lotus soldiers gathered in the camp's center. These arrows were laced with a neurotoxin derived from a small aquatic fish native to the endoplanet, designed to paralyze the respiratory system. Victims of the poison would experience a desperate need to remove anything covering their heads, ultimately succumbing to a painful death by suffocation. Chapter 699, The Talking Jungle. The precision of the Ewok's poison arrows was unmatched. Despite the Lotus soldiers donning basic protective gear, they were still vulnerable to shots targeting their necks and joints. Caught off guard by the sudden ambush, the Lotus soldiers leaped into action, only to find themselves at a loss for the enemy's location. The jungle was alive with sounds, chirps emanating from every direction, above, below, surrounding them in an auditory maze. In a frenzy, they fired wildly, achieving nothing. Following the silent onslaught of poisoned arrows, the Ewoks escalated their attack with heavy artillery. Rockets launched from the jungle's depths exploded in the camp's heart, heralding the charge of hundreds of Ewoks. These creatures, no taller than a meter, cloaked in jungle camouflage and resembling adorable ragdoll bears, possessed a terrifyingly murderous intent. They surged forward, some skimming close to the ground, others descending from above, aided by vines. Within minutes, they had thrown the Lotus formation into chaos. The Lotus soldiers, overwhelmed, perceived threats from every direction, yet their gunfire seemed to meet no target. "You beasts!" bellowed a muscular Lotus soldier, unleashing a barrage from his explosive rifle. His efforts seemed to bear fruit as an Ewok, caught by a stray beam, plummeted from a tree. Elated by this small victory, the soldier taunted, "Ha! You fear bullets too. But his triumph was short-lived. Another Ewok swooped down, disarming him and driving a sharp bone dagger into his eye socket. Despite the Lotus soldier's formidable strength, he couldn't overpower the smaller Ewok. Attempting to throw his attacker to the ground only resulted in the Ewok leveraging his momentum, hurling the soldier against a tree with a thunderous crash. Dazed, the soldier barely had time to react before the Ewok pounced again, bypassing his defenses and embedding the dagger deeper into his eye socket. With a vicious twist, the dagger's barbs hooked and extracted the eyeball, which the Ewok consumed with bloodthirsty relish. All the while, the Ewok's sniper rifle remained unused on his back, adorned with distinctive white feathers, a symbol of his prowess. Had Tang Xiao been present, he would have recognized this Ewok as the tribe's foremost warrior, who, a decade earlier, had humiliated the Fourth Civilization's army at a gathering in Dawn City. The Ewoks left no survivors in the Loda camp, which once housed nearly 400 soldiers. The white-feathered Ewok approached the Loda command center, discarding the commander's corpse, still etched with terror, onto the ground. He then examined a holographic topographic map projected from a small device. Lifting his head, he let out a rhythmic call, soon echoed by responses from various directions. These calls multiplied, filling the jungle with the voices of the Ewoks. It was only then that the Lotus soldiers, hidden in the foliage and plotting an ambush on the Fourth Civilization, realized they were not the hunters, but the prey in a jungle that spoke with one voice, the voice of the Ewoks. Voices echoed from all directions, speaking in a language foreign and unfamiliar, Ewok. "There are people around," one voice called out. "Find them," another commanded. "Enter battle mode. Tighten our defenses." The Loda troops responded without hesitation, yet battling an unseen enemy proved challenging. Poisonous arrows flew from the shadows, their origins obscured by the darkness, making them nearly impossible to defend against. The Lotus soldiers resorted to firing blindly in hopes of hitting their hidden assailants. The Ewoks, on the other hand, exercised patience, opting for harassment over direct confrontation until the cover of night would offer them an advantage. Meanwhile, the human soldiers allied with the Ewok mountain troops were far from idle. They secured a strong position and, guided by the Ewok scouts, launched artillery strikes against strategic targets and called in Banshee fighter bombings. They also ensured the Ewoks had full logistic, cal, and medical support, enabling them to engage in combat with confidence. Cummings, feeling the weight of his 6-barrel machine gun, expressed his boredom to Huang Yehao. "It's so dull here, Huang. Why were we sent for this kind of battle?" Huang Yehao's expression darkened. "Our mission is just beginning. The real challenges are yet to come." Confused, Cummings sought clarification, but Huang Yehao simply patted him on the shoulder and walked away to smoke. Another soldier explained to Cummings, "You were injured and sent to the rear during the Battle of Bespin, missing our subsequent operations. It was more than just maintaining order." Cummings, scratching his head, replied, "But everyone returned in one piece, except for Yang Wen's hand injury." "Maintaining order," the soldier repeated with a heavy sigh. Soon, orders came through that their jungle campaign had concluded. The Ewoks were regrouping, and prisoners of war were being processed. Their next assignment was to enter Qilin City, restore order, and apprehend rebels. Upon their arrival, Qilin City was in chaos. Robot patrols roamed the streets amidst the sounds of beatings, scoldings, and gunfire. The city's order had collapsed. 2 Solarian intelligence officers provided them with a list of identified rebels to be arrested and sent to a labor camp outside the city. Huang Yehao, expressionless, divided his company into 10 teams to carry out the arrests. Approaching a nondescript apartment building, Cummings hesitated. "This is it? The accomplice of the rebel Joss? Catch them," Huang Yehao instructed, taking a drag from his cigarette. Cummings charged forward, his powerful frame smashing through the apartment door. He instinctively raised his deflector shield, anticipating gunfire that never came. Instead, he was met with the terrified gazes of 2 boys and a woman in her 30s, cowering under a table. Confused, Cummings looked back at Huang Yehao for guidance. The rebel Joss, deputy captain of the 2nd Combat Team of the 18th Battalion of the Loda Army. He led his men to hide in the jungle, planning an attack on the Qilin City Hall. The evidence against him is irrefutable. He was killed by the Ewoks in a previous battle. According to our superior's orders, all family members of the rebels are to be arrested and sent to the mines for reformation through labor, Huang Yehao explained emotionlessly. Upon hearing this, the woman screamed, You killed my husband! You killed my husband! The other soldiers in the squad had already moved past Cummings. They forcefully dragged a woman who was still screaming by tying her up, and then they grabbed 2 children, both around 10 years old, and walked towards the door. Cummings was left in a state of shock, barely able to form his thoughts into words. What? Huang, can you explain what this is? He managed to stutter out. This is war, Cummings, Huang Yehao sighed, his voice heavy with a mix of resignation and sorrow. He then followed the soldiers who were escorting the captives out. The scene was a stark reminder of the brutal realities of conflict, where innocence is often the first casualty. Cummings, new to the field, was struggling to reconcile his ideals with the harsh truths unfolding before his eyes. Huang Yehao, more experienced and perhaps more jaded, understood the complexities and the often grim necessities of war, though it did little to ease the burden on his conscience. As they exited, the cries of the woman and the children echoed in the background, a haunting soundtrack to the grim tableau they were part of. This moment was a turning point for Cummings, a loss of innocence in the face of war's unforgiving nature. Vol 2, Chapter 700, The Footsteps That Stopped. As the new year dawns, I extend my warmest wishes for a joyful and prosperous year ahead. In this chapter, we delve into the aftermath of the Ewoks joining the battle, which marked a turning point in the conflict on the planet Loda. The Loda's initial strategy to engage in guerrilla warfare was rendered completely ineffective once the Ewoks entered the fray. What followed was a swift and brutal crackdown that saw millions implicated, arrested, and condemned to labor under harsh conditions in the mines, with survival rates estimated at a mere 30%. Despite their fierce nature, the Loda people's attempts at armed uprisings were met with relentless suppression. Huang Yehao's unit, in which he served alongside Cummings, encountered numerous skirmishes against the militants. They observed firsthand the gradual depletion of the militants' arsenal, from bazookas and blaster rifles to pistols, homemade bombs, and eventually to primitive weapons like wooden sticks and long knives. Yet, the resistance persisted, their resolve undiminished even as their means dwindled. The chilling realization dawned on Huang Yehao and Cummings that the nature of war was immutable. It was they who were being changed by it. By September of 22 BBY, the flames of resistance on Loda and Haven had been extinguished. The deep-seated hatred of the planet's inhabitants was forced into silence, buried deep within their hearts as a semblance of order was painstakingly restored. Under the watchful eyes of robotic overseers, workers, farmers, and administrators resumed their duties, albeit under the heavy shadow of occupation. Meanwhile, the Fourth Civilization shifted its focus towards reinforcing its defenses, particularly around planet Karl. With the 19th Army's threat diminished, attention was redirected northward to the Golden Rock planet, home to the Grand People. This strategic move aimed not only to counter the advancing 20th Army of the Republic, but also to clandestinely support the Jiwen people on Jaggurdur. The inevitable revelation of the Jiwen's affiliation with the Confederation of Independent Galaxies would make Golden Rock an essential bastion in the defense of Jaggurdur. The deployment of the Raz-class heavy engineering ship to Golden Rock signaled the commencement of construction for a new Agonev-class interstellar base. The United Mining Group's colossal mineral transport ships shuttled tirelessly between Karl and Golden Rock, ferrying the remnants of the Republic's destroyed heavy-duty armed space stations. These remnants would serve as raw materials for the interstellar base, which, upon completion, would leave the Grand People with no choice but to capitulate to the Fourth Civilization. The base's capability to devastate the planet's surface was a stark reminder of the power imbalance. Furthermore, the Fourth Civilization's capture of planet Manfa introduced a new dynamic to the conflict. Home to the Shada'ub, a small amphibious race with a rudimentary civilization, Manfa was still in the nascent stages of integrating into the Republic's society. The occupation transformed Shanpan Spaceport into a bustling hub, pushing its capacity to the brink. Matt Horner, faced with logistical constraints, withdrew a significant portion of the fleet, leaving a presence on Monfa, primarily to menace the Republic's 18th Army and its transportation hub on planet Terminus. Horner's previous fixation on Terminus, coupled with his controversial advocacy for using the plague as a weapon, underscored the desperate measures considered in the face of an intractable conflict. As the narrative unfolds, it becomes evident that the war's toll is not measured solely in the casualties and destruction wrought, but also in the profound changes it imposes on those caught in its wake. In the strategic chessboard of interstellar conflict, the planet Terminus stands as a pivotal piece due to its unique position. It is the only and most convenient hyperspace route through the planet Manfa. However, Manfa's primitive infrastructure is incapable of supporting the logistical demands of large-scale fleet operations. In contrast, Terminus boasts a comprehensive industrial and logistical system. This stark disparity significantly complicates the Fourth Civilization's efforts to exert influence over Terminus. Capturing Terminus, on the other hand, would dramatically open up strategic possibilities for the Fourth Civilization's 18th Army, offering them not just an advantage, but also the flexibility to maneuver freely. Thus, leveraging the power of the plague to swiftly conquer Terminus appeared to be a viable strategy, eliminating concerns over Manfa's logistical shortcomings. Regrettably, Tang Xiao ultimately opted for a more audacious and perilous strategy proposed by Severance Tan, a raid on Cato Nemoidia. According to Tang Xiao, this decision was influenced by the perspective of Darth Marthael. The Trade Federation's alliance with the Confederation of Independent Systems was partly due to Hago Mask II's efforts and ultimately Newt Gunray's promotion to governor of the Trade Federation under Darth Sidious's manipulation. Despite being a direct beneficiary of Darth Sidious's schemes, the Trade Federation remained under his command. For Darth Marthael, the indecisive and vacillating Newt Gunray represented both a potential ally and a necessary conquest. Gunray's current rapport with the Fourth Civilization, based on a perceived common victimhood under Darth Sidious, provided a foundation for Darth Marthael to instill fear and ultimately sway Gunray to his side. Launching the plague into Cato Nemoidia served as a demonstration of Darth Marthael's formidable dark powers to Gunray. This move was strategic, considering the Clone Wars concluded with Gunray's shutdown of the Confederation's battle droids, a testament to Darth Sidious's confidence in controlling the war's outcome. Securing this leverage for Darth Marthael could significantly shift the balance of power. In contrast, assigning Matt Horner to the challenging task of expanding the spaceport and developing infrastructure on the underdeveloped planet Manfa seemed a lesser evil. Meanwhile, the B Fleet, temporarily commanded by Lin Nanyi, was stationed on planet Glenson. This positioning not only supported the planet Haven, but also secured an important hyperspace channel leading directly to the Republic's 18th Army capital, planet Eliadu. The channel, now obstructed by air mines and hyperspace blockers, symbolized the direct confrontation between the Fourth Civilization and the 18th Army. During this period, the Fourth Civilization's expansion was at a standstill, prompting Tang Xiao to focus on consolidating control over the territories already under his command. However, this did not mean that Wilhoff Tarkin, the future governor of the 18th Army of the Galactic Republic and a formidable adversary under Emperor Darth Sidious, could rest easy. Tang Xiao was acutely aware of Tarkin's future significance as a high-ranking military leader in the Galactic Empire, recognizing him as a formidable opponent in the battles to come. Vault 2, Chapter 701, The 18th Army of the Galactic Republic. Happy New Year to everyone. Planet Eliadu, located in the outer ring of the Milky Way within the Sisvena Star District, serves as the capital for the 18th Army of the Galactic Republic. Governed by Wilhoff Tarkin, this planet stands as the largest trading hub in the Outer Ring star region, boasting connections through numerous hyperspace channels. Among these are the main Hydia channel, the Rima trade route, the Lipsec run, the Yankirk route, and the Nothoin corridor, making travel and trade exceptionally convenient. Thanks to its bustling trade, planet Eliada has seen rapid development, with a population of 22 billion, making it second only to the planet Christopher Sis, which has a population of 35 billion in the Outer Ring star region. However, Eliadu's status as a trade center brings with it a complexity not found on Christopher Sis, which primarily serves as a source of crystals. 2 years after Tang Xiao and the Fourth Civilization first arrived in this world, in the year 33Y, planet Eliadu found itself at the heart of a growing conflict. As tensions in the Outer Ring star region of the Milky Way escalated, Finis Valorum, the then president of the Galactic Council, convened a business summit on the planet to address these issues and to discuss a new taxation bill for the Outer Ring star region. However, under the dark machinations of Darth Plagueis and Darth Sidious, the summit quickly descended into chaos. Darth Sidious covertly enlisted the help of Wilhoff Tarkin, who was then the deputy governor and minister of security for the Ses-Vena sector, to orchestrate a robot riot. The riot resulted in significant casualties among the corporate elite, effectively decimating the senior leadership of the trade union and paving the way for Newt Gunray to rise as the new governor of the trade union, becoming a pawn of Darth Sidious. The Quat power dock, having suffered heavy losses in the riot and blaming the Trade Federation for supplying the robots, severed ties with the Trade Federation and, a few months later, also withdrew from the Techno-Union. The proposed taxation bill by Finis Valorum was subsequently disregarded, turning into a mere footnote in the galaxy's history. In the aftermath, Deputy Speaker Botan resigned, and Finis Valorum lost a crucial ally, further diminishing his influence. Planet Eliadu, once a focal point of galactic politics, seemingly faded from the spotlight, continuing its role as a trade center but stepping back from political affairs. However, the planet was far from stagnant. With Sheev Palpatine's rise to the presidency of the Galactic Council a year after the riots, Wilhoff Tarkin's career soared. He was later promoted to governor of the Ses-Vena sector, holding concurrent positions as Minister of Security and Commander-in-Chief of the sector's defense forces, consolidating military and political power. Anticipating future conflicts as hinted by Palpatine, Tarkin began preparing his forces early. He used the Business Summit riots as a pretext to purge dissenters from the local defense forces and to increase military spending. Despite parliamentary restrictions on army expansion, he managed to train a cadre of efficient officers. When war eventually broke out, the Ses-Vena sector was incorporated into the 18th Army of the Republic, with Wilhoff Tarkin at its helm. Governor Wilhelm Tarkin of the 18th Army had meticulously prepared for the challenges of war, ensuring his forces faced minimal resistance in the early stages. Unlike the 14th Army, which was quickly besieged by the Technology Alliance, or the 19th Army, obliterated by the Fourth Civilization within 3 months, Tarkin's 18th Army stood out as one of the Galactic Republic's few legions capable of mounting a significant resistance across numerous battlefronts. Tarkin enforced a stringent military policy across the 18th Army's jurisdiction, mandating the conscription of soldiers from various planets and repurposing industrial planet factories to bolster the Army's expansion. Despite widespread discontent within the Republic, Chancellor Palpatine leveraged his parliamentary influence to quash any dissent against the 18th Army's actions. However, the situation took a turn for the worse when Sullust, an industrial world crucial to the 18th Army and located near its headquarters planet Eliadu, defected to the Confederation of Independent Systems. Additionally, Southrop, a major arms manufacturer holding significant stakes on Sullust, remained non-committal, further complicating matters. Sullust's defection stripped Eliadu of a critical industrial asset and protective buffer, exposing it to a near encirclement by Confederate forces. In response, the Republic's Supreme Strategic Command and the Jedi Order dispatched a mobile fleet led by Jedi Knight Rhys Ulrich to reclaim Sullust. However, they encountered fierce resistance, and progress was painstakingly slow. Despite being besieged on 3 fronts, Tarkin's relentless and draconian policies enabled him to hold his ground. Yet, adversity continued to mount. The 19th Army's failed dual assaults on the planet Bespin decimated its elite mobile fleet, losing over 100 Chaser-class battlecruisers. This debacle left the 18th Army vulnerable to the imminent threat posed by the Fourth Civilization. Amidst these challenges, Chancellor Palpatine issued a direct order to Tarkin to obliterate the Dawn Planet, a directive that blatantly disregarded any strategic foresight. Tarkin was incensed, arguing that the 18th Army's immediate priority should be to secure Eliadu and then focus on reclaiming the industrial stronghold of Sullust to establish a stable strategic base for future counteroffensives. He pointed out the folly of targeting the Dawn Planet, especially when the 19th Army, with its superior fleet, had already been decimated in the attempt. Tarkin boldly demanded 500 Chaser-class battlecruisers from Palpatine if he was expected to carry out the attack on the Dawn Planet. Palpatine, however, ended the communication abruptly without a response. Attachment 1 of the Easter Egg Chapter. The administrative headquarters on the planet Eliadu is depicted as a heavily fortified fortress in the comics, though the illustration is simplistic. This image underscores the stronghold's critical importance and readiness for conflict. Vol 2, Chapter 702, Happy New Year. Despite his dissatisfaction, Wilhoff Tarkin had to acknowledge that after the fall of the 19th Army of the Republic, he was left to face the daunting military force of over 150 large warships confirmed to be on Dawn Planet. Consequently, Tarkin sought assistance from the Republic while actively adjusting his strategic deployment. He fortified defenses and installed hyperspace blockers on the planet Dora, situated between Glenson and Eliadu, which was under Dawn Planet's control. Additionally, he focused on strengthening the security of remote traffic points. He exerted pressure and persuasion on the neutral planet Minus, emphasizing the importance of not allowing the Separatist fleet passage, as the consequences would be dire. Simultaneously, Tarkin intensified his efforts to capture the planet Surust, a critical and strategically vital industrial world. He also continued to seek external support, reaching out to the governor of the Republic's 20th Army, hoping they could quickly address the situation on Jaeger-Dur Planet, launch an offensive on Golden Rock Planet, and thereby draw forces away from Dawn Planet from the north. The governor of the 20th Army, Octavian Grant, hailed from a noble family in the Sapani sector, known for their disdain for non-human races and belief in the lower classes serving merely as cogs in their rule. However, Grant faced his own challenges. The Confederation of Independent Systems had captured Bestine Planet in the Inner Ring Star region, leading to a fierce battle there. Grant was under pressure to maintain the satisfaction of the noble families in the Inner Circle, knowing he could not afford to upset them. Moreover, the planet Jaeger-Dur, controlled by the Giving, which held several hyperspace lanes and declared neutrality, refused Republic fleet passage. This left Grant frustrated, unable to force passage through Jaeger-Dur to attack Dawn Planet's northern territories. In addition to military maneuvers, an intense intelligence war erupted between the Fourth Civilization and the 18th Army. Both sides infiltrated each other's ranks, with it being commonplace for dozens of spies to be captured daily in contested areas. Unlike Surama, the civilian governor of the 19th Army, Tarkin placed a high emphasis on intelligence gathering. He collected not only military intelligence, but also detailed information about Dawn Planet, including dietary, linguistic, and marital customs. Through the interrogation of Colonel Lott, the former head of the 19th Army's intelligence department, Tarkin inferred at least 70% of the previous strategic deception. With the cooperation of Schiff Palpatine on Coruscant, a major purge of hidden spies within the Republic's intelligence services was conducted. The aristocratic lady involved with Agent 07 and the deputy director of the intelligence department, both implicated in information leaks, were imprisoned by Palpatine's decree. Agent 007 managed to escape Coruscant with the help of Ni Yongxiao's criminal organization. Despite these efforts, the Fourth Civilization did not cease their activities against the 18th Army. Suddenly, a man, stripped down to only a pair of shorts, was thrown into. Bound in a bathtub with his hands tied behind his back, Lugas scanned his surroundings in horror. The room appeared empty, yet the air in front of him seemed slightly distorted. Fear gripped him as he stammered, "You! Who are you? Ah!" Before he could finish, a piece of flesh was sliced from his arm, eliciting a scream of pain that was abruptly muffled. "I've placed a voodoo spell on you. You cannot produce sounds louder than 20 decibels. a disembodied voice announced, its tone peculiar, as if the speaker struggled to articulate each word. "Now, I will ask questions, and you will answer. Incorrect answers will result in punishment," the voice continued, promptly cutting another small piece of flesh from Lugus. He opened his mouth wide, as if to scream, and his body thrashed in silent agony. After a prolonged struggle, he slumped again, sent the bathtub's edge, drenched in cold sweat, and nodded faintly in acknowledgement. "Your name," the voice demanded. "Lugas," Lugus managed to say, wincing in pain. "Your occupation?" "Network maintainer." "Your wife's name?" "Garni." "Your son's name?" "Morrow, please, don't harm my family, I beg you." Lugus's voice broke into a sob. "Your address?" "No, please, not my family, no." As Lugus's pleas grew louder, another piece of flesh was removed from his chest, silencing him. He struggled once more before resigning himself to his fate, whispering, "Rayleigh District, Chima Street, number 224, apartment 002 on the 179th floor." "Good, you've learned to obey," the voice said. The air in front of Lugas distorted more violently, revealing a pair of translucent red eyes that made him recoil in fear. Suddenly, a burly man with dreadlocks materialized, casually flipping a sharp butterfly knife in his hand. It was Gabriel Tosh, a figure known for his mastery of voodoo. "I'll demonstrate the true power of voodoo," Tosh declared, plucking a tuft of hair from Lugus and intertwining it with a crude, menacing-looking straw doll. He then dipped the doll in the pool of Lugus's blood, chanting under his breath. A red glow enveloped the doll before vanishing. "You will obey," Tosh stated, making a small cut on the doll's hand. Simultaneously, a new wound appeared on Lugus's arm. Note: at this point in the story, Octavian Grant had not yet been promoted to the governor of the 20th Army. His appointment came more than 10 years later, in recognition of his efforts to quell the remnants of the Confederation of Independent Systems. However, due to the absence of records regarding the governorship during the Clone Wars, Lord Jing, who wielded control over the timelines, preemptively selected him for the role. Attachment 1 of the Easter egg chapter, Octavian Grant. Please remember to visit the official website for more chapters and updates. Vol 2, Chapter 703, Iron Wall. Lugus was petrified, his gaze shifting between the grievous wound on his body and the menacing puppet in Tosh's grasp. Panic-stricken, he frantically nodded, attempting to speak. However, fear had seized his voice, rendering him mute as his face turned a deep shade of red. After a futile struggle, he finally collapsed into the bathtub, gasping for air, and managed to whisper, "Please, please, let me go." "Of course I can let you go," Tosh responded, revealing 2 additional dolls. "This is little Garni, and this is little Morrow." He lightly traced the butterfly knife along the doll representing Lugus's son, Morrow, causing Lugus' eyes to widen in terror. Depleted of strength, the burly man burst into tears. "You let me go. How did you find my wife?" "Do you think I was seeking an answer with my question earlier?" Tosh smirked, tapping Lugus's forehead. "I already knew the answer. Moreover, you're mistaken. I'm not a Jedi warrior. I'm merely a web administrator. You're a formidable man, surely a Jedi. Oh, why would someone like a Jedi come for me?" Lugus mumbled incoherently, his realization dawning that Tosh had preemptively addressed the very question he sought to ask. Lugus stared in disbelief at the imposing figure before him, who had utterly defeated him. Tosh then produced a small memory chip and placed it beside the bathtub. With a swift flick of his knife, he severed all the ropes binding Lugus. "Stand up and get dressed," Tosh commanded. Lugus complied without hesitation, his hands trembling as he dressed. "Your button is misaligned. Your laces are untied," Tosh observed. Rushing to the full-length mirror, Lugus meticulously adjusted his attire before cautiously approaching Tosh to take the memory chip. "Insert this into the server you manage. Wait for the progress bar to reach 100%, and then I'll return these to you," Tosh instructed, lifting the 3 puppets in his hand. Lugus nodded, still in a daze. "Ah, brother, you're too tense," Tosh remarked, pouring a glass of wine and effortlessly sending it gliding into Lugus's hands. Stunned momentarily, Lugus then gulped down the wine, his expression easing slightly after a few seconds. Tosh approached, placing a comforting arm around Lugus's shoulders. Despite Lugus's height of 1.8 meters, he seemed diminutive next to Tosh's towering 1.93-meter frame. "Brother, this conflict doesn't concern you. Complete this final task and I can ensure your safe passage to the Kuna star cluster, a place untouched by war. Lugus nodded solemnly. Ah, to spend a night in such a grand palace, Super Lotus mused, chewing gum while peering through a telescope from an inconspicuous apartment building. Across the peninsula stood a colossal palace-like complex, bathed in light from countless searchlights that swept every corner, making it as bright as day, even during the night. The complex, surrounded by water on 3 sides, had only one access point, guarded by 5 levels of security, impenetrable even to flies. At first glance, the structure's durability was evident, its exterior shimmering with faint blue energy ripples indicative of an energy shield. The heart of the complex bristled with anti-aircraft missiles and turbo-laser turrets aimed skyward, while the roof of a large observatory-like building had retracted to reveal a supercannon, likely part of an orbital defense system. This is no palace. It's the administrative center of Wilhoff Tarkin, Tosh clarified, materializing beside Super Lotus and casually picking up a drink. Taking a large gulp before setting it aside, Cao Lianhua expressed her frustration. You don't understand a girl's heart at all. She kicked the drink Tosh had sampled in disgust. You are 33 years old this year. You're not a girl anymore, Tosh replied earnestly, taking a step back to maintain distance. In a fit of irritation, Cao Lianhua picked up the drink bottle and flung it towards Tosh, who had already stepped back, easily evading the improvised projectile. Ignoring her outburst, Tosh gazed towards the distant buildings, his voice grave as he shared his insights. The construction of this administrative center was planned for at least 5 years. Yet, the war has only been raging for 4 months. The 19th Army's governor, Surama, repurposed the original government building for the administrative center. However, the 18th Army had been preparing for war at least 5 years in advance. Go away. I don't want to talk to a steel-hearted man, Cao Lianhua retorted, turning her back to continue working on her personal terminal. Tosh, undeterred, focused on a shadowy figure in the room, seeking information. Do you have any clues? He inquired. A rapid, almost indecipherable chatter emanated from the shadows. Tosh, understanding the message, responded with a cold snort. You arrived 3 days before me, and yet returned empty-handed. It seems the Solarian Special Forces aren't as formidable as they claim. The shadowy figure replied swiftly, prompting Tosh to look back at the complex outside the window. Only a Jedi Knight could foresee the direction of a crisis. The defenses here remind me of when Mengsk was assassinated. A slender Solarian emerged, clad in a discreet combat uniform with a helmet that shimmered with a faint blue light. He appeared to be damp, as if he had just emerged from water, and tossed a memory chip accurately into Cao Lianhua's hands. After inspecting the chip, Cao Lianhua sighed. No, even the Solarian Special Forces can't breach the 500-meter perimeter underwater. It's heavily guarded by laser nets and underwater drones. Tosh, with a butterfly knife in hand, executed a series of intricate maneuvers before a burst of red energy enveloped him, and he vanished, leaving only his voice behind. I'll try again, focusing on the entrance. The Solarian quickly interjected, to which Tosh replied, I know I won't kill, at least not now. Cao Lianhua mused about their next steps. Our only hope now is to rely on the mainframe that Lugus can infiltrate. Even if we can't access the core, breaking into the communication system would be a significant victory. I never imagined infiltrating Wilhoff Tower would be so challenging. How fearful of death must this person be? But her words fell on empty air. The Solarian Special Forces operative had already departed in silence.